2, 1. Now we're recording. And Dawn, are you going?
We are also live. I ran your countdown.
We are. That's thanks, babe. Well, yeah. So episode 353 with Dale Comstock, Joe Tedeye, Don the Pleb, and the faggot in the top right. We were just talking about before. I didn't watch it yesterday. I was doing other shit. But yeah, the I only caught. I didn't see any of the impeachment. But Tedeye was no. Well, actually, there's a whole clusterfuck going on. Dale got banned on Facebook for making fun of Australians. And
no, Americans. I actually called Americans dumb and got fucking banned for 30 days for hate speech to call Americans dumb. I'm like, I'm a fucking American. The inference is I'm a dummy too, right? Dude, this was probably no shit. This was probably some fucking African in the Serengeti fucking Facebook checker in this fucking grass hut. He goes, fucking hate speech and fucking zap me, man. Like, what the fuck? I'm an American. Who cares, right?
There was a gangbang. There's perhaps the most beautiful red pill gangbang of censorship ever. So real quick. So Facebook was hiding the comments from Project Veritas's video. So Project Veritas made a video about it. They got banned from Facebook for it. So they posted the video on Twitter. Twitter banned them for posting the video. So they put a video on YouTube of Twitter banning them about Facebook banning them. YouTube banned them. So I made an episode. So I made a video about it. A guy commented on it about censorship. His comment was banned from my video about censorship, about YouTube deleting Project Veritas's video, exposing Twitter for. It's just this gangbang of censorship. It's just they're just running a train like the human centipede.
Oh man, it really, he's not exaggerating at all. If you say like literally anything about this, somebody comes by and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said something about this. The quantity of Karens is fucking ridiculous.
Well, it's actually, you know what? I've done 5 episodes by myself in a row, and I don't think anyone wants to hear me talk anymore. So, Ted, I take it away from the top about the sham impeachment.
Yeah, so dude, it's so funny. Dale got banned. I'm expected to get banned here because I made a post last night about the whole thing, and I let it fly. You know, I basically said, in not so many words, they should freaking waterboard Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Fucking really? I mean, seriously. But anyway, I'm sure I'll get hammered. But yeah, dude. So I didn't watch any of the impeachment. What I did watch was I watched the closing statements, the attorneys, Trump's attorneys, and I watched actually some of the Democrats and Republicans after it, you know, talking on how the word they kept using was eviscerated.
Yeah.
They kept saying the defense eviscerated, you know, their case. And it was so funny because I watched Hannity last night, and you gotta love that guy, man. He lets it fly. And he kept talking about, you know, how saying Trump said the word fight. We're going to fight. Then they showed like 19 Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, we're going to fight.
Maxine Waters. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. And then the other thing they kept showing was their, you know, the litigation they're trying to put against Trump to impeach him. I think they showed 10 senators saying reportedly, well, guess what, dude? I've been in a lawsuit. Reportedly, don't fucking cut it.
Yeah.
It's called hearsay.
Yeah.
Hearsay is not admissible in court. And they showed all of these people going reportedly. It was so embarrassing, dude. I literally started turning red with embarrassment just watching these fucking attorneys, right? Highly educated people look like a bunch of buffoons, like what the fuck?
This is the deal with this absolute retard crap, right? Is that and it is, make no exaggeration, no mistake. This is just the dumbest thing that has probably existed in American history, and I am so tired of. I am a constitutional lawyer, and therefore it's constitutional. Like, well, look, you don't. Like, if I already hate you, I probably shouldn't be the judge at anything that happens to you. I know. Is kind of a standard point.
It's what is the whole point of the impeachment? Is it on the surface level? Is it like a peon?
No, dude. So he can't come back.
Oh, he can't.
The whole mission is that if he got impeached, He can never serve in any. He
And
could never hold. He couldn't be a potato gun handler in a freaking in a governor's house. Like
That's
he
the
couldn't
idea.
do anything.
You,
Okay.
He
you
could
can't
not come
hold.
back and run for president.
Yeah, you can't hold any governmental
Any
position
office.
ever again
Yeah.
because because of amendments made for the Civil War, right? If you try to fight the United States government, then you can't be a part of the United States government anymore, which is very exciting. Except, and I can't. I'm happy to see this finally getting somewhere beyond just me saying it. The number of people I've seen recently who are like, "So let me get this straight. You think Americans had an insurrection and forgot their guns?" And
I know. I know. That's
that made sense to you.
That's the thing. If Dale shows up to my house and cold cocks me because I made a comment about his family, and then I tried to press that Dale Comstock attempted to murder me, someone's gonna come in with Dale's long classified and declassified military history, and they're gonna say, "You think that was attempted murder?" Dale doesn't attempt murder. If he slapped Tommy, he wanted to slap Tommy. There was no attempt. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how it's the idea that all these gun-toting Americans all forgot their guns on the 6th. That wasn't an insurrection.
Look, I know factually, and I'm sure I shouldn't even say it out loud, but I know there were an ass ton of weapons in multiple nearby states that readily could have been there on the 6th if anybody wanted to start an insurrection.
Oh,
It
jeez.
legitimately thousands and thousands of people with firearms, not simply because Virginia exists, but because I know personally other people were like, well, if this turns into a shooting war, what the fuck are we gonna do? And I was like, well, if I was you, I wouldn't bring weapons to DC. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
So-
Here's the reality check, man. All right, everybody's like, we're sitting here constantly defending. Well, if it was really insurrection, it would have brought guns. If it was really this, they would have done that. At the end of the day, none of that fucking matters because it's even fucking Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder together can see that this is all a fucking lie. It's all fucking propaganda. It's all bullshit. Okay. And what's happening is the fucking government, fuck you, fucking government, US government, all you motherfuckers are out there fucking basically manipulating the dumb masses. The dumb masses are all these fucking people that believe every goddamn thing they hear on the fucking news. And Joe, you mentioned Fox News just a second ago. I used to watch them all the time. And I would say, fuck you to them as well, because at the end of the day, those motherfuckers are owned by fucking Democrats. They are literally owned by Democrats, and they showed their true colors during the election. I won't watch them anymore either. And they can kiss my ass. I'll do my own fucking due diligence. We'll no longer rely on any fucking news media. But all these other dumb fucking masses out there they'll listen to the fucking media and they will buy into all the bullshit. At the end of the day, the media is nothing more than the propaganda arm of the fucking left wing, the Democrats, i.e. socialist communists. That's what this is all about. All right. And no matter how much we piss and complain about it and moan about it, nothing's going to change because it's nothing but a psyops war. And they're fucking winning. Why are they winning? They're winning because the silent majority on the right goes, well, we're just going to show them when we fucking vote. Yeah, showed us. You fucking showed us shit, motherfuckers. And I'm saying that because you know what? I'm no longer with the conservative right or the fucking, never been with the left, but for sure not the right. I'm now a fucking independent. I was a fucking, I was a Republican. And now basically they can kiss my ass too. Those guys have let us down. They fucking quit on us. All right. They're a bunch of fucking rhinos. There's maybe 7 of them. And 7 all total of the GOP that I feel like are actually on our fucking side. And then the rest have fucking let us down. We are in a place in our fucking lives in this world where the United States of America is no longer a fucking republic. It has now become a socialist republic and soon will be a communist republic. At the end of the day, we got fucked is what we got. And I'll probably get fucking targeted now with all this other bullshit that, for being extremists. And I don't give 2 fucking fucks. Come to Bali and get me, motherfuckers. I'll shoot you in the fucking face if you want it. But I'm so fucking sick of these cocksuckers, man. You know, and
But how do you
dumb
really
masses,
feel, Dale? How do you?
Yeah, right.
Well,
Double back
no,
now.
you know what? Nobody wants to fucking tell the truth. Nobody wants to say what's real, man. Everybody wants to go, well, they want to make excuses, right? Well, you know, this or that, you know, we could have had more guns, but hey, we know what's going on here. This is a fucking full-blown fucking psychological, it's an IO operation by the fucking left. They stole the fucking they stole the fucking election. They have manipulated us. The fact that they're going to try to impeach Trump for something he said, right? And he didn't actually do that. Yet the left wing is doing all the same shit they're accusing the right of. How the fuck does that work, man? I said earlier, Ray Charles can see this shit. He can see the fucking reality of it, and we need to stop bullshitting each other and stop fucking lying and start deciding what are we gonna fucking do about it. We're just gonna keep rolling over. The next step is. They're already talking about taking our fucking guns, fucking taxes, taxing ammo, fucking psychological evaluation. This is all a way to fucking disarm us. You know what? And the dumb masses out there will go, oh, I can't afford it. Here's my fucking gun. You know, at some point, you got to go, fuck you. It's fucking game. It's go time. It's go time. We're going to fucking guns and let's get it on.
And that is in the bullshit.
That
is in the bill that Dale's talking about. I read it. It's in the bill.
HR 127.
Yes, that's it. I read it. I pulled it up.
Yeah.
It's in there. And more. It's pretty scary.
It is.
It's pretty scary stuff. And for those of you that are watching, don't take our word for it. Like Dale said, do your own homework. Pull it up yourself. Go to the .gov and read the bill. It's right in there in black and white in plain text.
Welcome to what is becoming, God, I'm going to get myself distracted. Welcome to what's becoming the new method of, or rather, I guess I should say has become. Because if you go watch the news, you'll get lots of excerpts out of these bills. When I talked about HR 127, I got a few weeks ago now. It was, look, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. Links in the description. Go read it yourself, right? Because there is no way I can give this thing its credit for how freaking horrible it is. And it is, right? There's no two ways about this. Everything that you've always been told that, oh, they're not coming for your guns. They're coming for your guns.
It's in there for sure. It's in there for sure. Yeah.
And it's they're trying to me, the big thing is I mean, sure, yeah, you have to have a psych evaluation, you got to pay these taxes and stuff, but then the meme responses, well, I had a terrible boating accident, I don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
The real teeth to it though is because that all requires compliance, which
Good luck.
if you exactly right, wink wink nudge nudge. The thing about it though, and I don't know if this is the same bill, but it was, I believe or maybe it's proposed as an executive order, is the unwarranted, so the lack of warrant, they no longer have to have a warrant to come to your house to take guns on suspicious that you are dangerous.
So there's two different things that you're talking about there. One is a court case that is trying to expand exigent circumstance searches, where cops are doing like a welfare check and they can come confiscate your guns through a welfare check, which is just absolute horseshit, right? That there's no two ways around that. That is bullshit. It's quite literally any interaction with the cops, then they can search for and confiscate your guns. That's the court case that's rolling through. And HR 125, I think, is right along the same lines. It's basically red flag laws as a bill. And red flag laws are, we think, someone said something nasty about you to a judge anywhere on earth effectively, and therefore we can come confiscate your guns. Mm-hmm. And both of them are just overt anti-Second Amendment crap. That's just what they are.
Well, actually, it can go so far as somebody like your ex-wife can go, I think he's mentally unstable. He might hurt himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. No, that's it. And that's all they fucking need. That's all they need to come to fucking, to violate your Fourth Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I got to say this because if you're listening out there, you know what? You better fucking think about this. Hopefully you're not one of the dumb masses. The fall of the Roman Empire. The fall of the Roman Empire was for that very reason. The Senate said, hey, if we fucking give the dumb masses bread and circus, they won't pay attention to what the fuck is going on.
Yep.
Right? And guess what happened? Eventually, the goddamn, Roman Empire collapsed because of this shit. And that's where we are today. If you fucking think for a minute, well, we don't need fucking guns, you're a fucking fool, man. You are a fucking fool, because some of us have been out there, okay, in the world. I've been over 90 fucking countries, and I see what happens when people don't have fucking guns and they don't have a way to defend themselves. And the only people that got a fucking gun is the fucking government and the fucking bad guys. You're a fucking idiot. If you don't think you need a fucking gun, just fucking move the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. You don't even listen to this fucking podcast, man.
The wildest
fucking fool. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. But I'm so fucking mad. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I'm tired of the fucking pacifism. I'm talking about the kumbaya. Hey, can't we all get along? Hey, fuck you. You know what? There's some of us out here that been there, done that, and we know what the fuck is going on. All right. And then, look, like I said earlier, man, goddamn, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see what the fuck is going on. If you're not smart enough to see that yourself, you're a fucking ignorant fuck, period. I don't give a fuck. Hate me for it. I don't give a fuck, man.
You know why I love having Dale around?
I love you, Dale.
Why?
I love you, Dale.
100% of the time that we talk, I am like, a week before we talk, I am ragingly pissed off about something, right? And I'm over here, and my example of the moment is exactly what you're just saying. Like, look, you stupid fucks, if they're coming for the guns, that means you need guns. Right?
Yes, yeah, it's right. It's that shitty meme, but it's so accurate. When the government says you don't need an AR-15, that's precisely when you need an AR-15.
Exactly, right? Man. Then you need a 50 cal.
Exactly.
Right?
When America is, play the devil's advocate. When America is telling some Muslim country, hey, you don't need nuclear weapons. If you're trying to defend your country, hey man, you're probably going, hey, we should probably get some nukes. Hey, and I'm all for taking their nuclear weapons. Do you know why I'm all for taking their nuclear weapons? Because I don't want them to be able to defend themselves when we want to squash them. So if someone's trying to take your guns, guess what? They don't want you to be able to defend yourself.
But hang on a second, because this is the shtick, right? Is I get pissed off about something, and then I get a whole bunch of people who drop by and they're like, bro, aren't you like a little overly upset? And I'm like, no, you stupid bitch. I'm probably not upset enough. And then I talked to Dale about a week later, and Dale's over here like, string these motherfuckers up already.
You know what it is? It's the lack of patriotism. It's the lack of patriotism in a lot of people these days that really burns my ass. And I'm going to say this, and it's the facts for those of you that say it's bullshit. What has happened is textbook on, like Dale was saying, it's a psychological warfare. They flipped an entire generation 180 degrees, okay? And now you've got these millennials, okay, that have been so brainwashed in college. You know, and I can just speak from experience. I have a family member that had 2 kids I talked about before that were ultra conservative, went to college, came back, and they were ultra liberal, like in flipped 180 degrees. And so this is the problem. It's systemic, because I talk to a lot of young kids when I'm at the gym, and it's systemic. It is a generation that, the flag, fuck the flag, and they're just, they have no patriotism. They don't understand, what it is to serve. They don't want to serve. And like Dale said, they're buying into all this bonsai bullshit. And that is the problem. You've got an entire generation, not all of them, okay? So for those of you that don't get your panties in a wad, not all of you, but a large majority of you, okay, fall into this category. And you're going to sell our whole country down the damn river because of it.
I got 2 stories, man. I got 2 stories. Let me share this really quick to drive home your point, Joe.
Go for it.
Dale tells 2 stories really quick.
Yeah, I'll make this. I know I like to talk.
I don't care. I love it. This is what I live for. Take it away, Dale.
I promise. I'll make this really short, man.
Take your time, Dale. Dale, people want to hear you talk. They don't want to hear us talk, all right?
No, Joe's right? So first of all, here's what happened to me many years ago. So I raised my kids in a very conservative household. And my oldest daughter went to college, UNC Charlotte. I'll call it goddamn university. I don't care. UNC Charlotte. She went there for a bachelor's degree. And suddenly she starts coming home. And I remember one day she asked me in the kitchen, she goes, Dad, what do you think about this idea? Bush wants to build a wall, on the border, blah, 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 and keep the Mexicans out, the illegals out, right? And that's what you are, is a fucking illegal immigrant. You know what? You're a fucking illegal immigrant. And I'll say that again, right? And so Yeah. And she said, what do you think about that, Dad? And I said, you know what? Build it higher and put machine guns on it. And she goes, but why? They're just trying to get here to get a better life and a better opportunity. I go, you know what? I said, when they come here illegally, because by the way, my mother, her grandmother, all right, is an immigrant. All right, but she did it the right way. She fucking paid the price, did what you're supposed to do to become American citizen. All right, I said, when they come across the border and they take these freaking jobs and they do all the things they do, they use our infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. I can go on all day long. I said, basically, that costs us as taxpayers. I said, it's going to cost you. It didn't sink in, I could tell, right? It just didn't fucking register. Like, okay. And about a week later, I was in Florida. I got a call on Saturday night, and it was late Saturday night, like 11 o'clock, and my daughter's on the phone screaming hard. I go, what's the matter? She goes, I just got in a car accident. What happened? She goes, this car just pulled out in front of me, freaking at a red light. They pull out in front of me. I T-boned them, flipped the car, right? Blah, blah, blah. Ambulance showed up, cop showed up. In fact, the cop was talking to my daughter while she was talking to me, and she was injured, right? And so she's freaking out. And I'm telling her, shut up, okay? Watch what you say, just shut up, and we'll talk about this, right? So here's what happened was this. 2 Mexicans, both illegal aliens, could not even speak English. All right, driving this car, ran the red light. She T-boned him, knocked him over. All right, they hauled one guy off to the hospital. The second guy, he wouldn't answer any questions for the cops. He couldn't speak English and wouldn't answer in Spanish, right? And so, all right, so the report goes in. About 3 weeks later, I get a phone call, and I'll call out the company again, State Farm Insurance. State Farm Insurance calls me, goes, Mr. Comstock, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna settle out of court, and we're gonna, we found, judge, we're gonna pass judgment, give judgment to the plaintiffs, the defendants. I mean, the Mexicans, right? And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, basically, they ran a red light. They fucking can't speak English. We refused to give a police report. It's 2 fucking guys, and they were like, well, unfortunately, a third guy walks out of a mechanic shop down the road about a quarter mile an hour, looks left, looks right, sees the car exit, and says, your daughter ran the red light, and fucking T-bone him. I go, the fact that, you know what? I said, first of all, they're driving without a license. They can't fucking speak English. They're here illegally. Doesn't that account for nothing, anything? And they go, no. Oh, your daughter's still negligent. I go, that's fucking, so you got 3 guys that are fucking illegals, basically telling my fucking legal daughter and me that she's fucking broke the law. And they go, well, we don't want to litigate because it'll cost too much money. We'll just settle out of court. And, oh, yeah, we're going to raise your insurance premium. I had 10 policies through. them. 10. All right. What the freak, man? And so when I told her what was going on, she just lost her shit, right? She goes, how is that fair? I go, you remember that conversation we had about the wall? I go,
write that check.
I said,
write that
and
check.
I told her, I said, you know what? I said, here's some tough love. I said, guess what? I'm taking you off my insurance policy. You get to pay for it now. You pay for this shit. You pay for these illegal aliens, right? And before anybody out there goes, oh, Dale Comstock's a racist, let me tell you some asshole, all right? My ex-wife was Mexican and Chinese. My prior wife was fucking black. And my current wife is Indonesian Muslim. So don't call me a freaking racist for just calling for black and white. Now,
Dale,
the second story
don't you know, Dale? Just because you know a black person doesn't mean you're not racist.
Dale is actually the most progressive white man in America.
Exactly.
He's been married to a black woman, a Mexican, and is currently married to an Indonesian Muslim woman who was on the podcast 2 weeks ago. Sorry. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So, but that's, people can't handle the truth. Right. So they make up all kinds of shit. Here's my second story real quick, and I shut up. So the second story is, we talked about the millennials, the new generation. And Joe, you're right. Not everybody falls into this category. However, in 2010, I was in an operation in Afghanistan. Right. And so it was 2 of us. You know the story, Joe, how it goes. Right. So my counterpart went downrange and supported a 3-day fucking military operation on the border of Afghanistan to fight Taliban. It was a big operation. Basically, he took 2 of my platoons. I kept 1 platoon in reserve as a QRF, quick reaction force. Well, what happened was this guy's the platoons are patrolling along. There's a fucking MRAP out in the open, about 500 meters out in front of them. It's been fucking hit with RPG, small arms fire, and American casualties laying around the vehicle. As they approached, they noticed an entire American platoon sitting under a freaking tree. And his question was to them, why are you guys sitting here? And why are you not going out and pulling your guys out off the X? right? And you know what the response was? Hey, Sarge, it's hot out here. And they had their load-bearing equipment off. They had their shirts open, and they're sitting in the goddamn shade. So what happened next was my Afghans, the guys that we trained, ran out there and pulled these freaking Americans off the freaking X, brought them back and started triage and pull medical, medical support on them while the Americans watched. And so he questioned the commander, who's a captain. He goes, "What's going on here, sir?" He goes, "Why don't you have control? Why are you not doing this? Why not you doing your freaking job?" And he's like, his answer was, "They won't do what I tell them to do. They won't listen. They're not acting." And these were all, this is the new, this is 2010 now. Okay, 10 years ago. All right, that really wasn't that long ago. And so these kids are sitting on their ass because it's too freaking hot. And they would rather let another American bleed out and die out on the X than go out there and try to rescue him. Okay, now I'm not saying all millennials are like that. All right, but that was a bad indicator. Okay, this is what our next generation looks like. And I'll tell you who's responsible for that. Their freaking parents. All these assholes that believe in Dr. Spock and all the bullshit he put out about coddling your kids. This is the consequences of that. And it's only going to get worse in the future. All right. Our warriors are freaking gone, man. Gone.
Let me hand you a story of roughly the same time frame, right? Because apparently this is the turning point, is almost exactly right then. Because I was in Afghanistan in 2009, right? So like the same time. And our pre-deployment brief was, look, there was a convoy and it's rolling through this valley and they get hit and everybody gets out of the trucks except one guy. And one guy sits in the back of the MRAB and he won't get out. And the lieutenant says, "I'm giving you an order, get the hell out of the goddamn MRAB and get up there and assault the enemy position. Do it now." And guy says, "Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm afraid." So lieutenant pulls out M9, puts it to his forehead and says, "Now you are absent from your position in front of the fucking enemy. And that cannot stand. Get out of the fucking MRAB." And the guy says, "I'm not doing it." So lieutenant pulls the trigger, gets out and assaults the fucking position. Everybody gets back to the rear, finds out what happened, finds out the lieutenant popped him in the forehead. And the command went, "Don't be absent in front of the fucking enemy. What do you want?" Like,
holy shit.
That's how this goes. Either you get out of the fucking truck and you kill the enemy, or the penalty is death to be executed by an officer on scene at the time at their will. The end.
So circa that. All right. So that's interesting you said that, Don. So I'm good friends with Colonel Allen West, okay, former senator for Florida, who is now in Texas.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he got relieved, right? So in Baghdad, so in Baghdad, what happened was, I'll give you the broad story. Basically, they had rolled up a couple of insurgents that were planning IEDs down the road. And he's like, "Look," he goes, "I know you got IEDs down. I want to know who they are, blah, blah, blah. I want all the intel." The guys refused to talk. So he put a pistol to his head. He goes, "If you don't fucking tell me, I'm going to let the air out of you," right? Well, that got reported by some liberal, left-wing freaking, and we have a lot of those now in the military, right? So some guy on the left fucking reported that. Within 72 hours, Colonel West was relieved of duty and was booted out of the military because of that. He's trying to save American lives, and they got mad because he put a gun in a guy's head. So that actually happened to Colonel West.
Apparently, the problem here is he didn't pull the trigger. To be fair, my story comes out of the Marine Corps, who is notoriously bigger dicks about everything. So,
Jesus,
and that's all relative. Army's getting to be very, very political. They're getting very politically correct.
Dale, how come you're not going into the high command of the Army?
Yeah, right. Because you know what? They would rather lock me up as a freaking terrorist because of my views.
Yeah, I was going to say this podcast. This is why Dale is not in the high command of the Army, right? Like, because I get the feeling there are 0 points in life where you meet Dale, and he's like, "Yes, I'm willing to play the political game. Let's shut up and talk about being a bunch of pussies."
Dale, Dale's not Eisenhower. Dale's Patton.
Right. You know what? The problem with this world is, particularly with Americans and particularly with American politicians, is they can't tell the truth. Everything is let's speak in tongues. Let's tongue in cheek. Yeah, exactly. Let what nobody's want to call it like they see it, right? And call it like it is. I got some great videos up here on my fucking laptop. I was watching a little earlier of a pastor, man, and he was just throwing black people under the bus, right? And basically, it was bad, right? But there was a lot of truth to what he had said, and so I thought, man, if that got out, publicly, which it has before, that's how I got the videos, But if I were to publish that, people would just come at me with a freaking axe, man. Yeah. But the reality is, nobody wants to tell the fucking truth. Everybody wants it sugar coated. Everybody thinks because you're telling it, telling the truth, you're just being mean, racist, misogynist, and everything else, right? And that's, it's sad, but that's the generations of people that we raise. And it's not even the people that we've raised, it's their parents. It's the older generation that bought into the bullshit. Okay. So for example,
we've got 30 plus years of this crap where it's,
Timmy lit the house on fire, but I'm sure he was just expressing himself. So what we need to do is find out what the root cause of Timmy lighting the house on fire was and address that, as opposed to kicking Timmy's ass for lighting the house on fire.
Yeah. The problem is this: the truth, right? The people on the left, the crooks, the politicians, don't want you to tell the truth because that screws up their freaking crime, their games, right? Because that gets in their way. Because let's face it, these people, these politicians are criminals. All of them at that level, we're talking at the presidential level, are criminals. And when you start speaking the truth, they don't want you to speak the truth because they don't want you to influence other people. So they try to shut you down. I'm sure I'll be targeted for this. I'll probably be put on the no-flight list, and all kinds of bullshit. That's what the games they play. And mark my words, I know that and I'm aware of that. And people go, well, maybe you shouldn't say nothing. Well, that's exactly why I say something, because if I shut my fucking mouth, that's exactly what they'll do to me anyways. Yeah. Either way, I lose, right? I lose my freedom or I lose my voice. You know what? And either way, I lose my freedom. I lose my voice. I lose my freedom. I've lost the same fucking thing. They're controlling your thoughts. And you know what? And it's my opinion. Here's the sad thing, right? So I got, as Tom mentioned earlier, I got banned off of Facebook, right? For 30 freaking days. You know why? An Australian friend of mine, he posted a picture of a bunch of Australians loading up toilet paper in their shopping carts, just like the Americans, because they're going to get locked down for like a week because one guy came down with COVID. Right. And I'm like, damn, I thought only Americans were that dumb. I got banned for hate speech. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm an American. That's an inference that maybe I'm dumb too. But I got banned for 30 days, man. And so, yeah, so by controlling your speech, they're controlling your thoughts. When they can control your speech and control your thoughts, they're controlling you. And that's what's happening. I laugh because I look around every day, even here where I'm at now in this part of the country, in this part of the world. People are wearing freaking face masks, literally out in the woods. I'm like, why are you wearing a face mask in the woods? Nobody's here.
The tree has COVID, man. Dude, it's going to give it to you.
It's
You could give COVID
guys,
to the tree.
I see this every day. Going to a restaurant, people will have their mask on, sitting down eating, and they'll go like this.
Oh my fucking God.
Oh, dude, I just want to go, what the fuck are you doing? Like they're eating with their masks on. Straight up. The next time I see one, I'm snapping a video, and I don't care if the person screams and yells at me. I've seen it. I saw it the other day. People sitting there, and I'm not talking about seniors. I'm talking about people in their 30s.
Yeah.
Late 20s, early 30s, sitting there with a mask on, pull the mask down, eat, put it back up.
This is why. Think about this, guys. Look back into history, right? So you have all these cults like Jim Jones. Jim Jones talked how many hundreds of people into drinking poison Kool-Aid? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What the fuck? David Koresh, the other ones, there's aliens coming. Everybody freaking kill yourself. I mean, this is the human condition. We are naive and we're very gullible. And the reason we're naive and gullible is because we don't want to take the time to actually analyze and think about anything, right? We want everybody else to do the thinking for us. And we go, okay, that's even the government, right? The government says, now they're talking about wearing 2 masks. Hey, why don't we just put a plastic bag over our head? Okay. Why don't we just do that, right? So the problem is, and everybody's like, yeah, 2 masks sounds good to me, right? I actually have a scientist, a friend of mine who's a scientist, literally a scientist that studies, for example, he's one of the top chemists on olfaction, okay, on smell. And basically what he told me was the standard mask that everybody's wearing, okay, is 100,000 times bigger than the actual coronavirus. He goes, it just goes right through and like a goddamn fucking chain link fence. He goes, what makes you think 2 is gonna fucking work, right? And so everybody's like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's what the World Health Organization says. That's what freaking CDC says. So it must be fucking true. Let me tell you something. Here's what I do know. All right, for everybody out there's listening, I got a fucking doctoral degree, and we're some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Okay, just because you got a fucking doctorate and advanced degree doesn't mean you got fucking common sense. You get caught up in your own little fucking world, right, in this fucking academia thing, thinking that you fucking got it all figured out. When the reality is you don't have what's called effective intelligence. Effective intelligence. There's a huge difference between effective intelligence and academic intelligence, and that's what these guys are. That's what these guys are freaking lacking. Like this guy fucking Fossey, man, that fucking turd. Right? Last year he said you don't need a fucking mask. Now he says you need 2 masks. Well, what is it? How about a fucking plastic bag?
You're late to the game.
He's a subject matter expert.
Yeah, he already rolled back on 2 masks, right? Within like just a couple days.
Are we on 3 now?
Like,
he did.
No, he comes out the first week and he goes, well, if 1 mask works, it's just common sense that 2 works better. And then like 3 days later, he's over there and he's like, well, actually, it turns out there's no science about this. So
Actually,
maybe 2 masks doesn't work better. We don't really know. And then just 3 or 4 days after that, the CDC updates their guidelines to say wear 2 masks. And I was like,
hey,
so you assholes have no idea what you're doing. That's
how about the other one? The what is it called? The dexachloramine or whatever the freaking is now, right? So all this time they're literally disbarring people. They're taking people's freaking medical license. They're banning them on YouTube for even touting that this freaking this antimalarial. Yeah, exactly. Dexachloramine, that it actually works. And now the World Health Organization CDC come out and go, well, maybe it does kind of work. Like what the fuck, man?
Remember Trump when he was like UV light works. He was like UV light works, and they're like the idiot wants you to inject sunlight, and now they're showing that actual high frequency UV light.
And Clorox, right? So here's the funny part about Clorox, right? Bleach, right? Fucking what an idiot! Fucking put bleach in your bottom. Hey, by the way, in the U.S. Army, actually in the U.S. military, what do? We put a cap of Clorox, fucking bleach in our fucking drinking water. All right, to fucking kill the goddamn bacteria and viruses in it. And they're actually using UV light and basically inserting it into people's body to kill fucking viruses. If Trump wasn't off, man, you know what's off is the fucking low intelligence of the majority of American people. Actually, not just American people, all people, international. Yeah, man.
The fucking cooties thing has been just peak stupidity from the very beginning. I was out here and I was yelling at people as loud as I could, like stop being afraid of this, because they're look, I'm not saying the virus isn't real. I'm sure it's fucking real. I'm sure that everybody gets their goddamn little cough and they mistake it for a sinus infection or seasonal allergies or some other crap. But if you stay afraid of this thing, they're going to come for you. And the things that are going to come out of this are going to be ridiculously horrible. They will take every fucking thing from you. And at the beginning, it was, oh, Don, you're just a conspiracy theorist, wacko, crazy person. Well, here we are, 400 days into 15 days to slow the fucking spread.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
exactly.
Dude, I'm listening to War State by Michael Swanson. He's an author who's going to come on the podcast, but it's all about the military-industrial complex. This is an old book. Well, he's talking about old shit, and he's going into a quote from one of the early, I think George Tenet, the guy that set up the CIA, or Wild Bill Donovan, or one of those fucks. I say that lovingly. Is they talked about the problems with like the war powers and like this, the problem the founding fathers had with the standing army, the whole idea about the running military industrial complex after World War II. You can't just start up an assembly line of Sherman tanks. You have to have it going. But they warned in the 40s, they said whenever there is an emergency, there's going to be issued broad powers that they're never going to give up. And so this quote was from the 60s, and he's like, now here we are, 1965, 20 years after World War II, and they're still using tax to try to pay off what we spent. When these powers come in, they never get rid of them. But it's just, it's a timeless tale because now here we are in 2021, right? Contact
Yeah.
tracing, forced
Oh my
forced
God.
vaccines. Canada, the quarantine camps. The quarantine camps have started in Canada.
Yeah. And we've basically got all the precursor to them here. And there's a lot of talk that is very much, well, we may have to quarantine people who won't get the vaccine for at least 14 days. And my first thought was, so let me get the plan straight, right? Is that if you won't get the vaccine, we're going to lock you in a space with a bunch of other people who won't get the vaccine, which guarantees that somebody in there is going to get this thing. Right. And by the way, no one's going to notice, but they're going to run around and test everybody. And so they'll find out. But they're not going to know they've got it. And then once you've got them in there for 2 weeks, you're going to go, oh, well, you on day 10, you tested positive. So now we're going to lock you down for 2 more weeks.
14 days.
And after that, you only have, according to them these days, you only have durable immunity for like 2 months. So every 2 months, you're going to have to spend a month in one of these things. Fuck that. I mean, come on.
Ain't happening.
So the question is, right? So here's my question all the time. Okay, so you just mentioned durable immunity for 2 fucking months, right?
Yeah.
So you catch it naturally. So, all right. So how does the vaccine give me more than 2 months durable immunity? It doesn't.
Oh, they're talking. You will need a booster shot once every 90 days.
Yeah, for something that has a 99.6% survivability rate. More people die from the cold.
Yeah.
Well, did you know in 2020
right?
did you know
cured influenza?
Did you know in 2020 that ironically, miraculously, that common cold, common flu deaths were down 97%?
Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah, zero.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It's like 3,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's an absurd thing. Like, well, somehow or another, literally nobody died of the flu, but hundreds of thousands of people died of cooties. And
it's bullshit.
At the point where we know for a fact, and I'm just going to say this as hard as possible. If one person, and we know this is true, one person got into a motorcycle accident and was classified as a COVID death, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
Stop it right now.
Well, it's because motorcycles transmit goddamn COVID. It's a moving vehicle.
There you
Come
go.
on, dude.
That's the
It's in
that's the
gas
doctorate
tank.
speaking. This is the PhD speaking. This is
And you know what? There are morons out there that would actually believe that. I'm telling you right now, there are morons out there who will believe that fucking cars and motorcycles transmit fucking COVID.
Oh,
It's like going around for a ride.
Maybe you don't remember. That was the beginning of this, right? Is how long does it survive on what surfaces?
You know what we
Exactly.
need to do? You know what we need to do? Well, first I was going to say there's a book. It's like a 30-hour audio book. I haven't finished it. I started it last year by Nicholas Wachsmann, Wachsmann. It's called KL, which I guess is the German abbreviation for concentration camp. So it's KL, a history of the Nazi concentration camps. Nicholas Wachsmann. This book, it's unlike any other book about the concentration camp. Has nothing to do with World War II. That's just like a distant thing in the background. It's just all about the first camps being set up in 1933 through the liberation in 1945.
Yeah.
It is terrifying how slow, and it really is just a dun 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 dun. But they talk about the early camps. They would go. The guards and the prisoners would hang out. They'd share smokes, and it was just they'd write home. They'd be like, "Yeah, they're just keeping me here for 14 days, and then you could leave, and then you get thrown back in because instead of COVID, you were testing positive for communism." Which I don't know. I could kind of agree with that. Put it in a can, maybe we should have
this idea.
Hey, but hey, you know what? Common ground, whatever. But seriously, the point is it's the slow escalation of, well, now we have to stay longer. And then there's the first one of like, well, now they frisk you. Make sure you don't have any knives because they don't want people getting angry in the camps. And it's slowly, at no point was there a point where they go, it's fucked now. It's just, it starts with you playing cards with Dimitri over there or Herman. And next thing you know, you're part of the Sonderkommando, the Jews who were tasked with throwing the bodies in the ovens, or the story of that one Jew who was like, I knew it really broke me because my job was going into the showers after they dropped the Zyklon B in, and I had to use a hammer to knock out the gold from their jaws. And mind you, these are still wet, warm bodies. They've been dead for a couple minutes. And I realized, this is his quote, I realized I was broken when I was smashing the teeth out of this one bloody face with a hammer, and I realized I recognized the face as my wife. And then I just went to the next body because I just didn't care anymore. It starts with card games and writing home, and it goes to that. This is how it starts. Tell me, you're a conspiracy theorist. 14 days to flatten the curve. Now it's February 14th, 2021, and it's COVID is raping you to death. Stay inside. It doesn't stop.
This is the shtick,
It's
right?
like-
Because I see people do this all the time. We're like, well, literally nothing happened, and then we were killing the Jews in World War II. Like, no, every damn thing in the world had one little reason, one little excuse, one little thing. Like, it has to be a slow walk. You cannot go from everyday Americana over to, okay, so what we're going to do is kill the wrong thinkers in 5 minutes. That's not how it works. And we're mid the game right goddamn now. And everybody's like, well, but this is super important because, this isn't like just no reason. It's a health risk. Like, of course it's a health risk, bitch. What did you think it was going to be?
Did you think they were going to come in and go, well, all right, get in the camps, white people? No, it's going to start as it's someone like Dawn or myself. We can't go get a smoke show Sports Illustrated model. You know what? But if you start months ahead of time, and with a very slow game, and then the day of the party, you start very slowly with just some talking, smooth riding, and even then, if you get lucky, it starts with a very slow and gradual foreplay. It's only at the end that you realize, oh my God, Dawn's fucking the cover of the swimsuit model. How'd that happen? What happened to Dawn?
Don't worry about it. I'm still here.
I thought your wife just killed you. I thought I was talking. I was like, oh shit.
That's what happened.
Tom,
It's like
the scary thing is too, what we're talking about is all common knowledge stuff. And I had this conversation with someone the other day. All right, we're talking about common knowledge stuff. What really scares me is the stuff we don't know about.
Well,
Can you imagine like what we know now to be true, but what else is going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about yet, that we haven't even thought about yet? That's what kind of scares me.
This is the shit that gets me called a conspiracy theorist like every other minute, right? Because the next layer of this, I think, is pretty clear. And I think enough people have laid it out that, there's not really an argument anymore. But the Great Reset thing is fucking real. This idea that you're going to live in a bubble and eat bugs and you will own nothing and there will be no privacy. And you will be happier than you've ever been in your life. And, you can't have any wrong think and on. And this is all laid out in a whole ton of documents. And everything that we do moves closer to it. And, you say that and you get, like that's really happening. Like, there are people giving conferences on this at UN organizations that they then put on YouTube. Fuckface.
The heads of the World Economic Forum,
are
literally walking out in front of the, not even in front of the JP Morgan, the Citigroups. It's almost comical how evil it is in front of Rothschilds.
Yes.
they're like, you will own nothing and you will be happy. The Great Reset. This is just, we've been handed an opportunity to, what do they want to do? So we're seeing it right now, right? What do you do with COVID? You take people away from public spaces. They can't communicate. All communication has to be through electronic devices because the world's too evil, like we're doing right now. If everything is on a medium that they can control, which we're seeing with Parler, Project Veritas, Donald Trump, Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, they can terminate it. The next step in that is, what's the next equivalent? You get rid of all small businesses. So everyone has to. So what do we see in there? What did we see in the 60s, right? There were 600 news corporations. And then what do we see now? 6 news corporations. What did we see in the early 2000s? We saw hundreds and hundreds of different websites. Now we see Reddit, Instagram, YouTube. Well, YouTube and Google are one and the same. Facebook and Instagram are one and the same. You see consolidation. Now, if you do any wrong thing, you get banned from all of these. It gets coordinated. So what's the next step in that? You get rid of every mom and pop store, every Food Lion, every Kroger, and you're going to have Walmart, and Amazon, and
Yeah.
that's it. And so now they don't just cancel you from YouTube. Now they cancel you from being able to pick up a prescription, from being able to get bread, and no one will care because they'll go, well, that guy shouldn't have been a fascist.
Mm-hmm. Well, do we all know what Operation Choke Point is? And I know like for those people who are watching, they're my viewership. I know I talk about it all the time.
No, I don't.
But it's pretty goddamn important.
I don't know it.
So during the Obama administration, Obama created in 2014 a new arm of the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And I forget the name of this stupid thing, but I have a whole little video series on it. Go forth and watch. And this whole thing, its job was to police banks to get them to do the right thing, to be on the right side of history and all this other kind of bullshit. And what they did, and I'm not kidding, is they went to banks and they went, we find these people distasteful. So if you do business with them, we will revoke your FDIC insurance, which means that you can't be a bank under US law. And so you started seeing this wave of people losing their bank accounts, their home loans, any sort of transaction with a bank. And the result of like home loans was, well, we're canceling your home loan, so pay all of it now. Or we'll go after you in court or foreclose your house. And the whole point of this was that they quite literally came up with an ideological list of undesirables, people who sell guns, prostitutes, there's a list, and it's, if you fall into one of these categories, then the banks have to get rid of you. And you still see it happening right now. It happened to Enrique Tarrio, head of the Proud Boys, about 2 months ago now. Somebody came down and told him, hey, you no longer have a bank account with us. We're mailing you a check. And it's there was a big scandal about it back in 2014. People wrote a bunch of articles and there were some hearings about it. No one was ever punished. No one was ever removed from their position. The new arm of the FDIC remains to this day. By the way, large portions of the leadership are exactly the same today as they were in 2014. And in a less than shocking turn of events, you see people who are removed from payment processors, from the guy who runs Jihadi Watch. MasterCard told him they wouldn't do business with him anymore. And by the way, the next layer of Operation Choke Point, after going after your bank accounts, was payment processors. That they laid all of this out in documents back in 2014 that all got published in all these hearings. It should be common knowledge. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. And we're all surprised when these deplatformings happen.
Well, and you're right, Don. And so I actually have some friends in the farms business and manufacturers. They're going through exactly that right now. They can't get loans because the banks have fucking PNG'd them based on the government, right? So and we can go. There's another list that came out, and basically, it's a almost like social credits. We'll call it corporate credits. You can't do it's advised that you don't do business with certain people because they're leaning right or whatever, right? So they become the undesirable. So this is, again, like I said in the beginning, man. All right, we could sit here all day long and talk about how unfair this is and all the things that are going on. It's happening in front of us, right? And the only people who are paying attention are those of us with a couple live brain cells that fucking see this, right? The other 95% of the dumb masses are going to work every day, fucking doing their little thing, whatever the fuck it is, and are not paying attention. They're going to wake up one day and go, what fucking happened? Yeah. And they're going to lose everything, right? They're going to become... They're the fucking useful idiots. That's what they are, is useful fucking idiots. Those of us that are kind of paying attention to what's going on, we're gonna get rounded up someday. If we're not fucking exterminated, we're gonna get rounded up. We're gonna be the ones that get our fucking credit fucking jammed up, have our fucking bank accounts emptied. We're the ones that are gonna fucking pay the fucking price. Even now, Bank of America has actually given the FBI fucking bank records of anybody that went to Washington, D.C., purchased fucking hotels, travel tickets, whatever, bought fucking dildos in Washington, D.C. during the fucking January 6th has been reported to FBI. So first of all, that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Because the FBI asked about it.
You should know the NSA paved the way for this about 20 years ago, right? Because there was all of this talk right after Snowden about, hey, is it a violation of my Fourth Amendment rights if you give the feds all of my metadata? To which the feds went to court and said, wait. If we took that metadata directly off of his phone, We agree that would be a Fourth Amendment violation. However, if a third-party company records that information and voluntarily gives it to us, the information that they gave us is theirs. It's not whoever we're talking about, right? So, Dale's cell phone has been tracked by AT&T. And so AT&T, for its own purposes, for all of, helping you get better, like you normally go to Taco Bell, so there's a Taco Bell near you. And we're recording that information expressly so we can tell you where Taco Bell is. And then if the AT&T gives that information to the feds, well, it was AT&T's data. And if AT&T had asked us to get a warrant, we would have to. But since they didn't, we're square. And it's not a Fourth Amendment violation. And the courts went, yeah, that sounds good to us. So, I mean, by all of this third-party horseshit, the Fourth Amendment is dead.
Yeah, remember TIA right before 9/11 and then right after TIA, Total Information Awareness.
Yeah.
God. Americans have set themselves, not just Americans, but Westerners. Here's a domino effect, right? So I believe the whole world is watching America and they respond and react based off of what Americans do, right? So I've been saying this for a while. If all the schools open up, all the businesses open up, and this whole COVID thing is laid to rest in America, everybody will do the same here, everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's fought in lockstep with the United States, and the United States knows that. Now, there's what's the word I'm looking for? But basically, you have a paradox between the Chinese and the Americans, right? They're posturing for power. Even here in where I'm at in this part of the world in Asia, all right, the fucking Chinese created a virus, and they might have had some help from Americans. I'm starting to believe that they actually had the help from Americans. There's a fucking virus out here, and now they're running around going, "Hey, we got the fucking cure for the two," right? So and so this is all psyops. It's all information operations, man, warfare, controlling the minds of fucking people. And when you see people on the streets wearing masks in the car, literally wearing masks out in the fucking woods for a disease that has a 99.6 something percent survivability rate, higher than fucking the flu, the cold, and fucking tuberculosis. They've been brainwashed, and we're fucking, and the problem is, and you mentioned it earlier, when they can kill businesses, the middle class, and they can lower us down to the lower class, what happens? We become dependent on the government for everything we need and want. Mm-hmm. And that's when we got us by our fucking balls, man. And then when they take our weapons away with it, we have no way of fucking pushing back. We're fucked.
This is the story of socialist and communist countries everywhere, right? It used to be when Venezuela was a big name in the news that you would see people posting pictures of like cereal aisles in Venezuela, and it's one brand of cereal, and everybody looked at that and was like, you get the stupid socialists of the world going, well, yeah, but like how many brands of cereal do you need? And that's not the point. Right. If there is a single point of failure, you control it the moment you control the single point of failure. You simply cannot control to the same effective degree hundreds of thousands of things working autonomously on their own, doing whatever they want, the way that you can control one thing. And that's just a fact, right? Like if it doesn't matter where you're talking about doing this, colonels who want to be really hands-on with their leadership have less ability to micromanage troops on a battlefield than lieutenants. It's just true. A lieutenant can be in your shit every 5 minutes of every day. A colonel simply cannot be in front of that many people. So he can micromanage his lieutenants maybe, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. It is physically impossible to control to that detail what's going on. And this is the same principle at play when you're talking about, well, the only companies that exist are Walmart and Amazon. Now all you've got to control is Walmart and Amazon. That's it. You win. If you've got to control mom and pop store on the corner, mom and pop store is going to be like, no, I'm not doing any of that. Fuck you,
Yeah. No, it's the same. I've talked about it a lot the last day or so. Is a lot of people don't know about something called the Black Chamber. The Black Chamber was, I believe, put in place in 1915, dissolved in 1919, but it was for World War I. We had to intercept all mail coming in and out of America. But the way they went about it is they brought some guys from the Department of War, back when it had a cool name, and they went and they met with the CEOs of whatever was the equivalent of big tech. Big telegram, big postcard, big rotary phone call, whatever. They only met with the top guys of each one. And not only that, they lied to them all. So let's say there's 5. They went to, let's say it's us 4. They went to me and they said, hey, we just talked to Don, Dale, and Ted. They're all on board for this. Tommy, you do your part for America. And I say, oh, fuck, all right, I guess I'll do it. Then they go to Ted and they go, Ted, we just talked to Tommy. And so they got all of them on board, and that's how they got and they only had 5 people. And by those 5 people, they could control all the mail going in and out of America. Very quiet, very subtle, not a lot of ripples. And luckily, they shut it down in 1919 after that. Now we have the NSA. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's the single control.
Oh, it's the
point.
same.
Well, that's what I mean. Is now we have it, but it's a single control point. So when you only have a couple big tech companies, when you only have Amazon Web Service, or when you only have Twitter, and here's how this. And I've said this before. If this doesn't send chills up and down your spine, you're a brain dead retard. The fact that they got rid of Parler, up until then it was go create your own Twitter. Okay. Sure, I'll fuck with that. Free market. Someone makes a Parler. And hey, we're over here doing whatever we want. The fact that they got together to remove that, the Android store, the Apple App Store, and Amazon Web Services, if that doesn't send chills up and down your spine to where now it's not even that you can go make your own thing. No, you cannot talk anywhere but the platform from which we provide.
I'm going to throw this out hard.
Hey, Tom, is Parler still down?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still down. It's done. It's fucking done.
No, I don't think it's done. I think they're trying to get it back up.
They're trying.
I thought they were flipping over to a new service provider or something.
They do, but I think it takes several weeks.
Well, so here is the problem, right? And I'm going to lay this out as hard as possible because the lesson needs to be learned. If you, one, are not looking at this like the war that it is, then the Parler situation seems like, oh man, who could have seen that coming? If you are in a legitimate kinetic war and you go to your enemy, right? So we take, I don't know, the Marine Corps, Quezon base, and we go, hey, communist Vietnam, what do you think about running? How about we move Quezon up to the middle of communist country, the whole base, and then you guys run it for us. If you don't see a problem with that, you're fucking retard. And the problem is that is exactly what Parler did, is they literally went to the opposing side and said, hey, take care of all of this for me. Amazon is the enemy, and we decided we were going to have them host us. Are you serious? Like, this is the dumbest thing that has ever existed. Everybody knows it when you talk about the actual U.S. military doing it. But if you don't look at this fight like it's A, fight, B, a war, it's long term, and they're going to do whatever they can to destroy you, then it's, oh my God, well, how could Parler have known? Like, well, they could have not been dumbasses. That would be a good first step.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to wonder, how high does it go? What happens when someone goes, let's make our own Amazon Web Services? What happens
Tom,
yeah.
So Tom, this podcast, right? So I'm sitting there thinking about, like, okay, if he puts it on YouTube, they're gonna fucking can it because I threw all kinds of F-bombs out there, fucking right. And so we said a lot of shit that people are not gonna like, even though we think it's the truth. It's our opinion, right? So here's of course, I hope you're on Rumble, but I have a little bit more confidence in Rumble right now. That doesn't mean they're going to change. I had actually confidence in Fox News until the election, and I realized they're a bunch of fucktards too. So we're look, at the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter how much bitching and complaining we do, how much intel we throw out there. Everybody that's on the right knows that, but we're in no position to fucking push back other than kinetically, period. That's the reality of it. What are you going to do? You're going to complain to your fucking senator? Who, that fucking rhino that's on the left? He ain't going to fucking help you. Who's going to help you? Nobody's going to fucking help you. The courts are not going to help you. Nobody's going to help us on the fucking right. Now we're on the fucking left. And right. And so we can sit here and piss and moan all day long about, how the injustice of the world and injustice of American politics. At the end of the day, you know what? It comes back down to one thing: the man on the battlefield with a fucking gun. Yeah, that's what it always comes back to.
Yeah. Well, this is a thing that nobody ever wants to listen to me, so maybe they'll listen to you. No one is coming to fucking save you. 0 people anywhere, ever, at any time. You and whoever the hell you can get to roll with you is who is coming to save you. That's
Mhm.
it. There are not other people. There is not some other system. The world, you mentioned earlier, there's maybe 7 congressmen who are worth a damn and probably on our side. And that's true, right? There are politicians at various places throughout government in the United States that you probably could go to who would be willing to go get after it and get some with you. And okay, work with what you got. That's all well and good. However, at some point, someone is going to just have to go, okay, that's enough. No more. We're done. Right. And when that happens, the powers that be are not suddenly going to go, oh, okay, well, hey, they said no, so I guess it's all over. That's not how it's going to work.
No, no.
It's kind of like Black Hawk Down. It's kind of like Black Hawk Down, right? When Mike Durant's sitting there, where's the rescue squad? We're
We are.
Right.
We're here.
Oh shit! I'm like, where's the rescue squad? I got Don, Dale, and Ted-Eye. They're like, we're it, and it's like, no. All right, well, let's pop some skinnies. Let's do it. It's that's how it goes, though, right? It's, you know what? I would like to issue a formal retroactive temporal apology to Patton, to George Patton and Curtis LeMay, both who wanted to destroy the communists back then. Patton wanted to keep going. LeMay used to say, if what LeMay said about about the Cuban Missile Crisis is, with a little more luck, we could have had World War III. They wanted to just get rid of them all, and they should have done it, because this is where we are now. They saw the cancer cell then, and they said, let's excise it. And everyone said, let's go home. Let's go home.
You really want to have a mind fuck for a minute. Go back and start watching the American War Machine. And this bugs the fuck out of me for, I'm sure, the same reason it will the other 2 guys on the podcast that did military things. Go back and look at American foreign policy on which wars are popular, which wars are unpopular, which wars we are willing to support and actually get things done. And there is this really shitty correlation that if we are fighting against communists, the war is unpopular and we hate it and we should stop supporting it. If we are fighting in any way that supports communists, World War II, for example, then it's a good thing and we totally should have done it. And by the way, the truly crazy part of this is, right up until, for example, the Iraq War, we said the dirty commies that are out in the middle of the fucking desert that want to start their own little commie caliphate, fuck them too. Right up until we said that, the Iraq War was popular. That's how fucking accurate this correlation is. And it's creepy and it's shitty and I fucking hate it.
You know what we need?
Well, you know what, Don? And so let me just jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I actually told this to somebody a couple of days ago.
I gotta go pee.
So my son is a Green Beret. He's a Ranger, Green Beret. My sister was in the Navy. My brother-in-law was in the Navy. My father was in the Army. My uncles were in the Army. We have a long lineage of veterans in my family. And I look at it now, and I actually called my son about 2 weeks ago. I said, listen, man, when your freaking time of service is up, get the fuck out. Because if you go to war, you know what you're going to be doing? You're fighting for socialism. You're fighting for the same shit I was fighting against and your family was fighting against. Socialism, communism, and you're going to now be defending it. I said, these assholes at Biden and Kamala Harris, these fucktards will get you fucking killed to promote their political agenda. And that's it, man. It has nothing to do with freedom anymore. It has nothing to do with our Constitution. It has nothing to do with being an American patriot. You are cannon fodder. And I encourage them. I said, get the fuck out of the military today and bring your friends with you, man. We'll find another fucking job for you. Use your skills somewhere else.
Do you know about the stand down?
What's that?
Do you know about the stand down? Oh,
yeah, man. I heard about
that. I heard something about them going after people that are ultra conservative or something.
Yeah.
What is that?
What was that? I caught a glimpse of that as well. That they're targeting ultra conservative people because they thought there were military people at the Capitol building that day.
Yep. So that's it. The one of the first things that the Biden administration did is order a 60-day stand down for the entire U.S. military to find political extremists within the U.S. military. And I still know some guys who are in, because that's how this game works, right? And they're like, look, I'm not going to lie to them. you want to come down and ask me whether or not I believe X, Y, or Z, I'm going to tell you. And if they decide that makes me an extremist and I need to leave, then that's fine. But I'm not doing any re-education camp shit either. You can take that and stuff it right up your ass. So if the argument here is, well, either you decide that everything is terrible and we need to be this big socialist country that's all soft and shitty, or we're sending you to the brig, then if you don't hear from me for a while, I'm in the fucking brig.
So what we need is a good war with China. I think that's just, hey, you know what? Let's just get it on.
We need a war with China.
I think that's inevitable.
It's
certainly
boost the economy.
Not with this administration, certainly not.
Yeah.
But I think that is inevitable. 10 years, 15 years from now.
Let's talk about China.
Let's
talk about China real quick.
Let's talk about China
real quick. Yeah. So, all right. There's several articles that have come out in the last couple of weeks talking about the Chinese military and the Chinese, men. Basically, what they're doing is they're starting a re-education program to masculate their young men because they're becoming very androgynous, feminist, boy band fucking, So China recognizes we got a problem. Our fucking guys, our young men are becoming fucking wimps. Skinny jeans, fucking man bun, fucking wimps, right?
Yeah.
And two, they're actually now genetically experimenting with basically trying to create a super soldier, okay, through hormones and stuff like that. So they actually had the vision. The Chinese have had the vision for a long time. They knew what they wanted to do, and we've arrived at their objective. This has been going on for 30-something years. These viruses have been coming out every few years. The fucking swine flu and all these other fucking flus and viruses from China. These are fucking test runs. Here we are, coronavirus. It's finally met the objective. 2, they've managed to change the fucking mindset of the world. 3, they're actually now fucking standing up their military and changing. They're actually focusing on their population of men and their population and their military, right? And so there's an issue with that. And I've been saying this for years. We've been going, the U.S. military has been going, well, we need to include more women and transvestites and transsexuals and all this other shit in combat arms, right? Make it more inclusive. We need to do this. We need to do that. You're not a soldier. It's more of a fucking job now, right? Yeah. Whereas the rest of the world, like you know this from the Middle East, right? They're training their fucking 10-year-old, 12-year-old kids how to fucking shoot an AK-47 and blow your fucking face off, right? And so are the fucking Chinese. We have flipped scripts. We used to be the country, in the 50s, that was teaching our guys hand to hand and fucking kicking ass and doing, fucking man shit. To now we're like, oh, we're all fucking women. So let's all act like it,
This goes to another thing. This goes to another thing that happened during fucking Clinton, right? That stupid video of that fucking smart bomb going into that building, right? That went all over the world. Everybody watched it 900 times. They're like, oh man, that shit war's changed. We don't need the infantry anymore. We can do stuff with we can. And by the way, then everybody got that under Obama, right? That was his shtick, is I'm just going to drone the shit out of everything. And by the way, it turned out nobody liked that either, for a whole lot of reasons. The military didn't mind too much. Like, well, hey, if you're not going to make me assault that thing and we're just going to drone the shit out of it, then like, okay, I'll go assault it after there's not live people with AKs in there. That's fine by me. But, this idea that somehow we're going to get rid of the guy on the ground with a gun. This is the most ridiculous idea that has ever, like, okay, you drone the shit out of my city because we're all wrong thinkers. How are you going to hold this territory? What, are you just going to literally drone every square inch of it forever? Because I don't think that's really a viable option.
Until there are ground-based drones.
But even when there's ground-based drones, it's not going to matter.
Patrol the cities. You're going to have these Boston Dynamic dogs.
Hey, did you watch Terminator? That's fucking not possible, right? That's always a man on the ground with the man.
Yeah. And by the way, all they're really hoping for, and the best example I've ever seen to get rid of the man on the ground with a gun, is this idea that what we're going to do is we're going to create these robots that work like drones, but are in fact people, right? Like, or at least in the shape of people. It's still literally just a guy on a ground with a gun, but we could then put Dale in charge of it, because
Dale would know what to do
Well,
in that situation. And that's the premise. But the problem with that is, and I know that this is going to sound like absolute bullshit to people who have no idea, that half the military on the ground works off of your sixth sense. That it does, right? Like, I can't imagine how many times we all fucking security halted because I've got a bad feeling. I have no idea, like, not me
Really?
personally, but somebody somewhere is like, I don't know why, but I've got a bad feeling. And you know what? More than half the time, like probably 90+%, we're like, I got a bad feeling. Come to find out, there's a fucking IED 100 feet in front of you that most likely what happened is that guy saw a control wire or something and it didn't click rationally, but he went, I think something bad is coming.
Yeah, something.
And everybody stops. And then you find out not only was there an IED 100 feet in front of you, but that ambush that's 100 feet in front of you that was going to go along with that IED, that all of that shit happened, starts to slowly come out of the woodwork. And you find out that had you rolled forward 100 more feet, like, everybody would be fucking dead. Now tell me what robot is going to give you that capability, right?
Yeah.
It's just not a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And you guys do know this. I'm sure you do. If you don't, and I'm actually blown away. And don't quote me the exact number, but I do know for a fact at least one, if not two women are now Special Forces qualified.
Yeah.
They are, okay, so Dale and I were both in SF, and I'm just going to state my opinion. I don't know who in the fuck thought that was a good idea, but they need to be smacked in the face, because I'm here to tell you, the only way, in my personal opinion, if you want to have women try out for Special Forces and Rangers and SEALs and whatever the fuck, MARSOC, then you better have a whole company of just women.
Yeah.
A whole group of just women.
Mm-hmm.
Been there, done that. They'll been there, done that. That shit is not going to work. I don't, if they're doing some kind of social experiment or what, that you are going to cost people their lives. And I'm not saying if a woman can meet the standards, they shouldn't be able to serve, but you better use them in the right way. Just like where Dale came from and I came from. Yeah, there are women in special operations. They do specific missions. I'm not going to get into what they do, but the bottom line is having operational type people fighting side by side with you that are women. That is just not, I read that and I'm like, where are they getting their logic that this is going to work? You're with a bunch of raging type A men, right? Raging type A men, and now you got a woman thrown into the mix. What the fuck?
Well, Joe, let me just clarify something. So let me kind of back up a little bit. So when I first met Alan West, Senator Alan West, out in LA, he had me on the show. I talked about my son, military career, blah, blah, blah. The second time he had me on a show in Washington, D.C., it was specifically to discuss women in the military, particularly women in special operations forces. And so you just said something a second ago, if they meet the standards. Well, let me fucking clarify. Let me clarify something for everybody that's listening out there.
This is how they meet the standards.
Well, no, even if they meet the standards, what standards have they met? They have met the standards for training, not for fucking combat. Okay, there's a huge difference between
you're right.
Between wartime standards and meeting a fucking minimum to get through a goddamn course.
Right.
Okay,
And
just because I fucking passed a course of the driver's license test for my fucking driver's ID doesn't mean I can run a fucking Formula 500. Okay, that means I fucking basically know how to fucking parallel park, fucking stand on the gas, stand on the fucking brake, put the e-brake on, and turn the car on and off.
Shift gears.
That's the same goddamn fucking thing here, right? So they think, well, if they meet the standards, what fucking standard? Training standard? That doesn't make you qualified for the combat standard. And there's a huge fucking difference. And I'll give you an example real quick. One example. So imagine this: you're in fucking bumfuck South America in the fucking jungle for 2-3 weeks on a combat operation with a 10-man, 12-man fucking team. Okay, you're out there. Everything you got to eat off of, live off of, is on your fucking back in a rucksack. Okay, and guess what? You don't want nobody to know you're there. So what do you fucking do?
You're not washing your clothes. Yeah, I get you. I know
you're in a cigarette patrol. You got to take a shit, and you're doing it right in the middle of patrol in a fucking plastic bag and you
That's
put
right.
it in your rucksack, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You get a guy that's fucking hit. It takes 4 to 5 guys that carry that fucker off the objective, all right, to an HLZ, which could be fucking 10 kilometers away, right? So when you start adding all that shit in it, there is a difference between men and women. I'm sick and tired of people going, well, there's no fuck. No, there is a fucking difference. It's a biological difference. Men are 80% stronger than fucking women at the same fucking height and weight. We are fucking much stronger. Our bone density, everything is different. We are built for fucking combat. And that goes back to our primordial days, man. When men are hunters, fighters, and women are gatherers, you know? And so people want to fucking ignore biology at the same time and go believe in the fucking science when it comes to COVID. Hey, what the fuck is it we're going to believe in?
Well, it's the same science, man. It's the political science horse shit, right? Like you guys know about you guys know about the Marine Corps Lioness program, right?
Don't tell me. No.
Dude, I don't know if I want to hear it, to be honest with you.
So it's before the Marine Corps cucked, and I'm just going to throw it out hard. Recently, they have, right? And you can decide when that was. To tell a story fucking 20 minutes ago about like, well, that's it. Get out of the fucking truck or fuck you. But definitively, they have recently. But the Marine Corps, they, when we started getting all fucking political about women and you can't search people, can't search women in the Middle East. The Marine Corps said, well, dumb rules are dumb, but we better figure this fuck out. And so they created an all volunteer force of women. You had to volunteer to go as a prerequisite, right? You had to say, yes, I'm going to be a hard ass. And then these women went through SOI, right? School of Infantry. And then they did another in-doc program after that. And the whole point was basically SF training, right? Like the whole point is to weed people the fuck out who don't want to be there. And it was explicitly to make it hard on them. And even after that, what they did is they would take about a company worth or minimum 2 squads, and they would attach these 2 squads to a company or battalion size, or depending on how many women they're attaching, company to battalion size element of just straight leg infantry in the Marine Corps. And they would send out one woman with the patrol so that if they needed to go stop and search in a village, they could say, well, we've got a woman here. And so it's presumably not offensive to all the rest of you that we have a woman searching them. And they could run checkpoints and things with these people. And the reality of this was, as told by lionesses who got out of the program later, and by the way, their attrition rate was like 100%. As soon as you went through one deployment set and could get out of this program, women were leaving as fast as they could. And the reality was, according to them, look, there's a platoon of us and a battalion of grunts. So the grunts would get up in the morning and, they're up at 04 and they're on a patrol by 05. And they're out there, one of us is out there with them, and they're out there patrolling 15, 20 clicks, right? And one of us goes with them for one patrol. We get back. They eat something. We get a different lioness to go with them. They go out for one patrol. And most of us, the reason we did it this way is we were so broke off after one day of what they were doing that we needed 2 to 3 days to recover. And they were on those patrols every fucking day. Every day, 100% of the time. They didn't tap out. And we, if we couldn't have stopped and healed for a couple of days, never could have made it with them. We never could have kept up. And this is the women who were in it saying that. It's just a fact.
Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. I don't want anybody to listen to this and think, you've got veterans here. I am certainly not saying that a woman doesn't have the right to serve their country or go to combat. Not at all. What I am saying is our leaders need to use some common sense and discretion when you mix women in with, infantry type units, special operations units. You're dealing with different types of individuals. Yeah. And the farther up that chain you go, their ideologies and things, it becomes even more and more stringent. And it's kind of like, in my opinion, trying to mix oil with vinegar. And it's only going to mix so much. And I personally have never gone to combat with a woman. I mean, we're where Dale and I came from, yeah, there were women doing specific jobs, but they weren't in the stack or they weren't going out on combat operations.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the other
It's a very
thing.
bad idea. If you want to do something like that, form a new fucking unit with a school that is just for women to go to, that's going to function as a self-contained, female-only unit. Got no problem with that. But when you start sticking in women with guys in units like we came from, really bad idea. Really bad idea. That's why.
Well, let me add this, Joe. So I will tell you this. Don't fucking kill my son because you think you got a fucking cock and you have something to prove. Okay. And that's my fucking problem with all this shit. Is I've got a kid, a young man that's fucking NSF, Ranger, that's fucking, combat arms. I don't want him fucking dead because some woman thinks she's got something to fucking prove and really doesn't need to be there. And that's the reality of it. You know what? We don't need an integrated fucking force, man. There are biological differences, there are psychological differences, and there are sociological differences that impact the operation. And so, and here's the other thing I would add to that, right? So how is it that today fucking our illustrious president, which is not my president, and I'll keep fucking saying that, but fucking Biden goes, well, transgender fucking men should be able to compete against women. Oh yeah? So what you're
how's
trying
that
to say
going?
is how's that work? Yeah. How's that fucking work, right? And so, you can't have it fucking both ways because we can flip the script, right? If I'm a fucking dude goes, hey, you know what? I think I'm a fucking chick, or if a chick thinks she's a fucking dude, all right, it doesn't fucking work. There are this is science. If you're gonna fucking tell me to believe the science about COVID, you better believe the science about this. There are XY chromosomes and XX chromosomes. That's it. Science says that. It's fucking proven fact. All right. And there are biological differences. There are not only physiological differences, but there are psychological differences,
right,
and there are sociological differences. All right. And you guys know, being in a combat arms unit, when you're in a freaking, you're in an infantry squad or what, with dudes, we have the same mindset. We become a collective, man, with the same mindset. We identify with each other. When you add it, and I've been to the field with chicks, by the way, Joe, and I know how that fucking works. Dude, men will be men and women will be women, period. And I always hear women go, well, men need to keep their fucking pants up. No, actually, women need to keep their pants up too because they do the same fucking thing as men do.
Yeah,
You're no fucking better than us. You're just as promiscuous, just as fucking horny as we are. That's human nature. All right.
It's not even just that though, right? So I for the sake of people involved in real stories, names and places and dates and times will be changed. But look, if I went to a training evolution, right? We'll make this about me, regardless of what that training evolution was, and somebody at the end of it said, "Look, you sucked. Get fucked, and you need to get better." My answer to that would be, okay, how do I get better? Right? Because it's the only question you can reasonably ask at that point is, what do I need to do to get better? How do I need to get up and get after this? And again, for the sake of everyone involved, I happen to know that something right along these lines happened recently. And the guy who said, get fucked, you need to get better, said it to a woman who then had him charged, because you can't say that kind of shit to women. That's just how it works. And whether anybody, oh my God, well, does the military really need to talk like that? Yes. Just let me throw it out hard. Yes. If you're a pussy in the military and you break when someone hands you some mean sounding criticism, the last person on planet Earth I want holding a rifle next to me is you. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman. That is unisex advice right there. If you cuck like a little bitch the moment that someone says mean words to you, what do you think Haji is going to do? What do you think black pajamas wearing guy from third world country everywhere is going to do? They're going to fucking kill you.
It's true. And it's so funny because I have a lot of friends like Dell that are still in SF, and I've got one friend in particular. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's an 06 and very smart guy. He was actually enlisted when I knew him, but he's climbed the ranks, and very, very smart guy, and his opinion is the same thing. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I guess my question is this, and and again, for those of you who are watching it, please don't get your panties in a wad. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to say, take off your hat, put on. Okay, let me think about this hat. Why would, and I don't know what the percentages are, but why would a woman want to serve in a unit that's 100% men? What, like, that would be like me saying, I'm going to go serve in this unit that's 100% women. I can't quite put and maybe somebody could explain it to me. I can't put those two together. Like, why would you even do that? I understand you want to serve and maybe get something interesting and be in an elite unit. I get it. Okay, I get all that. But how do you actually think you're going to fit in when you've got 10,000 men and 2 women? Like, I don't know. I don't know the psychology of that. I don't understand the psychology of it.
So we spent a lot of years telling both men and women that, oh, you're exactly the same, right? To the point that not too long after I got out of the military, I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends, and they, everybody had their wives there, and I said, look, I'm not against all of us getting together, the family and what have you, and doing stuff, but you guys need to, like, we need to go do men shit at some point, right? Like, there at some point there needs to be, we don't invite the women. And they were like, well, why? What's the big deal? And I was like, how about all of you just indulge me for one fucking day, right? Like, some Saturday, what we're going to do is we're going to get all the guys together, and I don't even care what we do, right? We can sit around, pick nose, stick your thumb in your ass, whatever you want to do. But there will be no women. And ideally, there will be no children. Right. So, if your kid is, I don't know, 25 or whatever, then maybe we could talk. But for a moment here, we are all going to get together as men and just hang out and do some shit. And they were like, okay, well, I guess we could arrange that. Right. Because they live in this world where men and women are exactly the same. And after the first time we did this, they were like, holy shit, man. It was like you could just say whatever you want. And nobody gave a fuck. It was, you could just be dudes. It was great. And I was like, yeah. Because that's how this works, right? If I walk into a room full of dudes and go, what's up, faggots? Nobody cries. Nobody.
Except for the faggot. And then he's no longer your friend.
Exactly. Right.
And Don, the reverse replies to that too. I think women should do the same thing. Women should go and leave the guys at home. Like, hey, you're a guy. Sit your ass at home, and we're gonna go do women shit.
Yeah.
And
I have no problem with that.
I have no idea what women do when they go do women shit, because I don't go to that. And two, look, I don't know what happens there, but I do know that at the same time, I was telling the wife the same sort of shit, is like, go find women to do women shit. And they all came back and were like, as nice as it is to have all of you guys that like do stuff for us around, we really got to like go talk about women shit.
Yeah.
And you want to hear about it? And I went, no, I don't want to fucking hear about your women shit. All right.
No.
Look, I'm sure your knitting circle crap or whatever you were doing is just truly amazing to you. But I don't want to know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to know what it is. And if you explain it, I'm going to fall the fuck asleep because it's probably going to bore me to tears. So no, let's not do that. Let's pretend for a moment like all the women getting together and all the men getting together and doing that at separate fucking times. Or, even if it's the same day, all right, all the wives go out together and all the husbands go out together. And like, everybody was really better off for quite some time. I moved and I think this ended, but there was a lot of like, simply bitching about your spouse while your spouse is there is not a thing that happens, right? But guess what? There was a pressure release valve for everybody. There was fucking all kinds of fucking good shit came out of this. And it's like, it doesn't matter, right? It's like, all of these people don't fucking get it. And for those of you who know, or invariably a part of that sort of thing, I know a few of you do, but there are some that, like, even though I know that I managed to force them into this, came back later and like, well, everybody's still the same. And I was like, bitch, that's not true.
Yeah. We've all been trained to believe that we're all the same, right? Over all the years, going all the way back to Dr. Spock, right? We're all equal, right? Which we know is bullshit. We're not all equal. And that's the reality of it. Nobody wants to hear that or believe that, right? Because that hurts their fucking feelings. The reality is, I am fucking not, I'm not some other guy I would like to be. I am who I am. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I can't be a fucking astronaut. Even right now, if I want to be, I can't be an astronaut. It's just never gonna fucking happen. I can't be a woman. I cannot fucking win the Miss World pageant, whatever.
I don't know. That mustache might win it.
I know it might, right? So there are reality, but there are realities that we have to live with. But the society we live in wants us to believe that we're all fucking equal, and not only now it was equal opportunities, now it's equal outcome, right? And so that's the sad part about it. We cannot all be equal, and we cannot all have the equal outcomes, because if we did, we'd all be fucking, we'd all be mega rich, right? That's the reality, but we can't. That's the world we live in. And so we've been brainwashed into thinking that, we all have to be, we have a certain, equal opportunity, equal outcomes. We're all the same. We should be able to do all things, but nobody wants to account for the realities of life, and I go back to, I'll go back to default back to the combat mindset, right? These people are saying that women should be allowed to be in combat armed, but should be allowed the opportunity, have no fucking idea what they're signing up for. That's the last place I think any of us would like to see a woman is in combat, right? And so, because we understand the horrors of it behind it, and it's like, man, listen, I don't have PTSD, right? I sleep good at night. I don't care how many guys I fucking let the air out of. I don't care, because they were bad guys. Okay. And I sleep good at night knowing I got rid of some fucking vermin on this planet. But what does bother me is that I fucking had to watch women and fucking children fucking cry and fucking die because of shit like this, because of war. And that's what fucking keeps me up at night. That's what's fucking brought me to the psychologist. That's what's fucking giving me severe PTSD. And so, you know what? The last thing I want is anybody's fucking daughters or wives to go through the same shit, or sons for that fucking matter, But at the end of the day,
that's a shtick that I don't think people fucking understand at all, right? Because you hear all this absolute bullshit in the media about, like, oh my God, did you have to do terrible things? Like, define terrible things, because I don't think we have the same definition here. Like, did I turn a guy who was one of the worst people on planet Earth into fucking pink mist? Yes. I'm cool with that. Are you? Because I feel like this is a bigger problem for you than it is for me. But for all the guys that I know that died for bureaucratic horse shit, that bugs me, right?
Yeah.
For all the guys that I know that, for everybody who's like, oh man, everyone just dehumanizes all these people. Like, there's a little village right next to where we were at that it was generally full of good people. I'm sure there was some shithead in there, but it was generally a good little village, and they were good people, and they were trying to just live their lives. And I know for a fact that right after we rotated out and the guys that replaced us got there, they stopped looking after that little village, and some people there died because they weren't personally looking after the village. Does that bug me? Yeah, that bugs me. Right? Like, good people getting smoked for no good fucking reason sucks. But
you made a good point, Don, a second ago about the question is, dehumanizing people. Well, the reality is, as a fucking soldier, you have to dehumanize people if you're gonna fucking do your job. Because when you start looking at fucking people that you're getting ready to shoot in the fucking face, as anything other than that, it gets in the fucking way. Right. Yeah. And it might cost you your life and everybody else on your team's life. So there comes a point where that person that you're going to fucking shoot is no longer a human. He becomes a fucking E-type silhouette, and you fucking drill him two in the body and one in the fucking head. Right. And so these are the nuances that the civilian population out there just doesn't fucking grasp. Right. I was in a situation a couple of years ago where I was a bodyguard for a very, for a millionaires, right? But bottom line is, I won't go into the details right now. It'll be in my next book. But anyways, I was surrounded by her, all her cronies, everybody that's in her culture. They were all fucking super liberal. They all hated Trump. They thought I was like a lost puppy. They never met a veteran before, and they all wanted to fucking pet me and fucking hold me and shit. And they just had no idea about the military culture. And they just couldn't get their head around, why wouldn't you fucking allow transvestites and transsexuals and all these other people in the fucking military? And they just didn't get it. And I gave an example of where we actually had a homosexual molest one of our guys one night after a party, and how that literally fucking made the entire unit for 30 days combat ineffective. Literally, we were having fist fights during the morning formation outside with everybody else over this shit, right?
Yeah.
And it was really, really bad. And so I explained to him, I was like, listen, you cannot change people that have grown up with a certain way of thinking. For example, people that grew up in a Judeo-Christian environment, they grow up and believing in, red, white, and blue, John Wayne, the American way. And all of a sudden you're telling them that, they should overlook some guy giving them a blowjob in the middle of the night while they're asleep and they wake up. It just doesn't fucking hold water, man. And so it causes problems. So, they couldn't get their head around it until I explained it to them. And I wasn't nice about it, man. When they decided they want to hear my story, because I actually refused to give it to them. And they're like, hey, no, we want to hear what you have to say. I said, all right, well, hold on, fuckers. Let me range the range flag. Fucking range flags up. Fucking lock and cock the 50 caliber and fucking I let them have it. It got so fucking ugly, man. I remember they fucking literally got up like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. I gotta go. I was like, yeah, that's your fucking answer. Run, you fucking cowards, man. You fucking liberal fucking cowards. When you don't understand anything, you fucking either run or you try to fucking flip the script. Here's the reality of it. Here's the truth from a guy that's been there and done that. And I tried to explain to them what the problems with that is. They don't want to hear it. They want to live in utopia. They believe there's a utopia out there that we all can live in, and there's no such thing. Since the beginning of mankind, we've had 12,000 wars. 12,000 wars, man, okay? That's what we are, is the warring ape. Ask fucking, goddamn, there's plenty of social psychologists out there that will tell you that. We are, Gustav Le Bon, he'll tell you we're the warring ape. That's what we fucking do, man. We fucking kill each other. We fight over territory. We fight over women. We fight over fucking tribes. We fight over culture. We fight over fucking money. And that's
we fight over fighting.
Exactly. That's what we do, man. That is the human condition. And when people can realize, okay, you know what? You're not going to change that. It's inherent. It's innate within us. Okay. And there's no such thing as kumbaya, one world order. We're all going to get along. No, because you know why? Because somebody's in fucking power. And somebody is going to be submissive, and that's the fucking problem. As long as you have an unequal power, unequal balance of fucking power, there's always going to be conflict, strife, and resentment. And
that's the wild dream of these fucking people, is that we're suddenly going to get a balance of power somehow, right? And
never going to happen.
You know what's amazing is at the founding of the United States, the states got together and everybody was talking about whether or not we're going to make this one country. And somebody, and I forget who, said, well, look, if we don't, we're going to make war on each other. And somebody else answered with, well, why would the states make war on each other? And the answer was, because that's always what two different governmental powers who aren't linked together do. Always, forever. And that's the way it's going to work. Either we're going to be one country or we're going to make war on each other. That's what's going to happen. And it's just true. We've known this for millennia, but somehow we've forgotten today.
Well, no, it's not that we haven't forgotten. It's just that 95%, the dumb masses, the useful idiots, don't fucking know it. Why? Because they're not studying history. They're not fucking doing their due diligence. They listen to CNN and all the bullshit networks, and they fucking go along. They listen to the guy on the left and the right. They go, they know a bit more than I do. They go along with the fucking program. And that's the problem, man. It's always been the problem in history. It's 5% of society that carries the other 95%. It's the 95% that eventually will weigh you fucking down and destroy everybody. That 5% can only hold it up for so long. And that's where we are now, man. We're in the same fucking place. And guess what? The manipulators, they're above us, man. They know that. They're the master manipulators. These fucking people like Pelosi, she's actually come out on fucking the news and said, how do you freaking spin a story to win, political favor? She actually admitted that. I'm like, and she did that bold-faced because she knew 95% of the populace wouldn't register. It's like, hey, just go right over the fucking head. Yep. And she said it. She told you what she was going to do to you, and you fucking let it go over your fucking head. Yeah. And that's where we are, man. Unfortunately, there's a small group, a percentage of us that are going to be the victims of the mob. The dumb masses manipulated by those in fucking power, and we're fucked. We're the ones that are going to get persecuted. We're the ones that are going to fucking end up in the death camps. You know, I can go on all day long, but history is replete with fucking examples of this, and we're repeating it again and again and again because the dumb masses are allowing it. They're allowing it to happen.
That's classic Solzhenitsyn right there. Is, you know, if people in the apartment buildings in Soviet Russia would have stood up to the Red Army when they were kicking down people's doors, even if they would have failed, it would have told the Red Army that there was a cost to going and taking these people and putting them in gulags, even if that's all the reticence there was, even if that was all that was holding them back. Is, you know what, I do have to be careful. I can't just go do whatever I want. Then the Soviet Union would have been much different. Then the gulags would have been much different. Then everything would have changed. But no one would stand up to them coming and booting in doors, because those people are bad people, because those people are, you know, well, they shouldn't have thought whatever wrong thing they thought. They shouldn't have been doing whatever they were doing. And everyone passively sat by and let it happen. And he poses this idea that, like, even if it had been a real tiny minority of people, right, then it becomes, well, am I rushing the building that is full of a tiny minority of people or not? And if I, you know, and you have to roll slower. You can't just go do whatever you want. And the reality here is that over and over and over again, people, once they get nice and comfortable, let this sort of shit happen.
So,
well, to your point, you know what? To your point, real quick, is here's what's going on right now. So they have basically convinced the public to turn on their fucking neighbors, reporting for not wearing a mask, reporting for having more 10 people over on Thanksgiving. You know, basically this is where we are. And that's how it starts. The government just doesn't come in fucking and bully people. What they do is they manipulate the public. Turn on your fucking brothers, turn on your fucking neighbors, report them for this, report them for that. And slowly the government comes in and starts fucking dealing with it. And that's how that happened with World War II and the Nazis and the Jews. It wasn't the Nazis just said, hey, we're gonna wage war against all the Jews and fucking round you up. No, they actually convinced the Germans that the Jews were bad and they needed to help fucking round these people up. That's how it started before the German army and the secret police came in and started fucking reinforcing this thing. And that's where we are today. The fact that we've got fucking, you know, Americans fucking ratting each other out because you're not wearing a fucking mask. Actually, I just saw something today where they had people at a gathering weren't wearing masks, and that was reported to some fucking federal agency, the police, and they're actually going to investigate and find out who wasn't wearing the mask. This is how the bullshit starts. And I'm telling you right now, the only way you fucking stop it is you go to guns now, man, because the only thing people respect is violence. At the end of the day, you know, people are, and I hate all the pacifists that go, well, violence never solves nothing. The fuck it don't.
Turns out violence solves a lot of shit.
It solves a lot of shit, man. And when you know that somebody's going to fucking shoot back, you're going to fucking say, whoa, well, let me slow down a little bit, you know? And so, you know, the other reality is this. Most people just don't have the balls, the guts to fight for themselves. And I've seen that over and over where people would allow themselves to be killed rather than actually trying to fight back. It's like they try to negotiate themselves out of a situation that they know is imminent. They're gonna die. They try to negotiate their way out rather than trying to fight their way out. And that is actually the human condition. You know, I don't know if that's been bred out of us, if it's been, you know, trained into us. But that's the reality of it. And that goes back to the dumb masses, the useful idiots. I would say 95% of the population is, you know, and people, I'll fucking shoot you, you'd break in my house. You know what? I beg the difference.
Will you?
I bet you I could break in your fucking house and you'll fucking think twice about if you really want to shoot me. By that time, I'll let the air out of you, man. That's the reality of the human condition. And so until that changes, all you're going to do is become the slave to those in power, to the manipulators on top. They know that. That's why they're there.
Let me say a real quick story. Let me tell you something real. This has really nothing to do with anything, but this just goes to show how scared people are. I was in Food Line the other day, and when you go into Food Line where I live, they have a person there wiping the carts down and handing you a mask to put on. Straight up. straight up. And so
You're
I don't like
starved,
these fucking
David.
masks. I didn't put it on. All right. So I'm going down an aisle and a guy. Now I'm not a big guy, I'm not an imposing figure by any
That's a
stretch of
lie.
imagination. But anyway, this dude that kind of looked like Barney Rubble. Okay. When I looked at him, he looked like Barney Rubble. He comes up to me and he says, "Where's your mask?" And I said, "I didn't put one on, sir." He says, "You either put one on or you leave," is what he said to me. No bullshit. And I was like, "Well, sir, I'm not putting on a mask." And I said, "Do you own the store?" And he says, "No." I said, "Why are you getting?" And he was actually he was getting amped up.
This is some customer?
Yeah. Dude, this is a guy I could go like this. I could go like this. Shut up. Like, really. This dude was that close. I thought he was going to hit me. And I'm telling you right now, I left Food Line. I left my fucking cart and I left because this guy was going so cuckoo. He says, "You're putting me at risk." And I'm like, "Oh,
Why are you?
He was losing his shit, dude. And,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's not that I
incredible.
was afraid of him. I just wanted to avoid a situation.
So you can
You know what I mean?
you can see the importance of all. And I have to go back real quick on an asterisk, Dale. When you said if I break into your house, I doubt you'll shoot me. We have to make a very specific footnote that Dale, you were in Delta Force for a decade. Not that's kind of your specialty is breaking in and killing everyone before they can kill you. But and then to Ted-Eye, yeah, that guy. Well, one, if you're putting me at risk, why did he approach you? But two, it's well, you can see what this is a social conditioning. It's not what it is, wearing a mask. It's not what you're ratting for. It's the very act of will you submit to a seemingly socially awkward thing that we haven't done for the history of mankind, wear a mask on your face. If can under a year, can you turn it from accept from okay, people will from a taboo to okay, some people will do it to okay, everyone will do it to anyone that doesn't do it is a black sheep, and they can. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a mask, whether it's a rainbow sticker on your right thumbnail. It doesn't matter what it is. What it is
should have
it,
took my camera out. I was so befuddled.
You should have shot him in the face.
I'll be honest with you. And I don't get shot. I should have just took out my camera. Like, what did you just say? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I left. I literally left my car.
You should have coughed on him.
Should have told him to get fucked.
You should have been. You should have been a dick because you just gave him a victory, right? So this guy's gonna go, "You're putting me at risk." No, actually, you put yourself at risk by leaving your fucking house and coming out here, right? So they want to absolve themselves of personal responsibility. At the end of the day, if you think there's a fucking risk, why would you fucking leave the fucking house? Right? Yeah. You expect everybody else to fucking go, hey, to protect your fucking ass. And so, I expect.
Let me tell you why I left too. There was a camera right there. And you know as well as I do, guys, the good guy gets fucked. Like that. Yeah. And I know that because I've been that person before where I got and broke off with no Vaseline. I wasn't about to happen again. You know what I'm saying? And so I left. I'm like, you know what? Live to fight another day. And this guy was losing his shit. I could see his posture, his facial expressions. Like he was.
I'd have let him.
Let him take the swing.
Yeah, I'd let him lose his shit and take that fucking shot, dude. I'd have taken the shot and fucking bury him right there in the fucking Walmart, man.
The point here was this. It blew me away that people are just so angry. Yeah. Like there's so many angry. It's like everybody's taking angry pills right now. Angry. Angry. And it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time until this powder keg that we're sitting on, it's been fizzing for a year now with that fucking short ass fuse. It's just going to go poof. Because something's going to happen somewhere, and that's going to be the catalyst. That'll be the catalyst.
Here's my prediction, man. Here's my prediction, because not all humans are stupid, and there's enough of us out here that have fucking common sense. We're already reached the point of fucking, we're at the point now where most people are starting to go, that's enough. Enough is enough, and they're starting to push back. Okay, and I think what's going to happen is there's enough reasonable people out there go, I'm not doing it no more. And you're gonna see a rebellion. and it's not going to work out the way the fucking government wants or all the governments want. It's not going to happen. There's going to be enough people out to create enough resistance to push it back, and it's going to cause problems. And there's going to be, again, but it's not going to solve the problem. What's going to end up happening is there's going to be a compromise, somewhere a meeting in the middle, right? So we're never going to get back to the old normal. Okay, they keep talking about this new normal, right? Like it's like they're trying to brainwash everybody. It's the new normal, wearing a mask. And we're never gonna get back to normal. We're gonna have to kind of ratchet it down and find balance between this new normal to acquiesce to the fucking radicals on the left to think that wearing a mask for a disease at a 99.6% survivability rate is acceptable. And now a double mask on top of that, right? And those of us that are going, hey, we want to fucking live, and we want to feed our families, and we want to fucking prosper, and we're done. So the days a year ago are gone. I don't think it's ever going to be the same, man. I think we're going to live in another fucking world. And here's what I tell my friends all the time, especially where I'm at in this part of the world, is like, look, man, there's never going to be normalcy again, like as we know it. The best thing you can do, because right now, the people that are profiting off of this are people in power and the rich people, the pharmaceutical companies, people that are doing fucking PCR testing. All these, even the airlines now are starting to fucking profit, right? Because they're doing PCR testing at the airports. I go on all day long. The people that are fucking profiting are above us, the government, and these fucking, the rich folks. The people who are suffering are the people in the middle class and the lower class that are losing their fucking businesses and going, fuck, what do I do now? Right? And are slowly becoming reliant on the government. And so what I tell my friends is, you better fucking get smart and figure out how you're going to get to the top and make money off of this thing and survive. And if you want to do it with a conscience, and you want to do it with integrity, and you want to be moral about it, figure out a way that you can fucking push back against the government and the rich and help everybody else. I've got a plan in place already for doing that. I'm not going to fucking get rich, fucking riding the gravy train with the fucking rich and the fucking, and the politicians. I'm going to do it by fucking helping everybody else and bring us back to normalcy. I don't want to talk about what I'm going to do here. I've already got the action plan in place, but there's a way to do that. And there's a way to fucking flip the script. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take guys on the middle class and lower class to fucking use that live brain cell they have, at least one of them motherfuckers, and implement it and fucking figure out how they're going to push back against those in fucking power and take their fucking power and take the money from the fucking rich. That's how we're going to fucking win. If you're going to sit there and go, well, they're smarter than me, they have more money, I'll just acquiesce, well, then you get what you fucking deserve.
Well, and so sort of to a point that was going on earlier, both with Joe's store story and the general premise of fighting back at all. I probably shouldn't personalize this, so I'll just use a little bit of history instead. Go look at Vietnam, right? In Vietnam, if you walked into it, if you patrolled into a city that was vaguely friendly to you at all, you could at least work with local populace a little, right? Maybe it's not the best place in the world, but that not every house is going to be shooting at you, right? There's a little bit of traction you can use there. There's a little, that one house isn't going to shoot at you, so you don't cover that house as hard as you cover everything else, whatever, right? The flip side of that is SOG, where when SOG went into Laos, everything was hostile. And the only way that SOG managed to live was having so ridiculously much air power that they could take down whole divisions of NVA, right? And that is the difference, is either the people who are going to do this are going to walk into a city where they know there's people they can work with, they know there's they'll get intel out of there, they'll all kinds of stuff, or they're going to need to be so massively kinetic that the country's over anyway. Let's be honest, right? If you're dropping daisy cutters in the middle of major city number 2, that city is over, right? It's not there anymore. It's gone now. And I don't think they'd be willing to do it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And so what they need to do is foment this kind of, we can work with you. We can now do targeted operations against one guy, two guys, right? At most, one house full of people. Because if you walk into an entirely hostile city, an entirely hostile situation, you simply can't do that kind of shit. Like, okay, maybe you could fucking helo some people onto a rooftop and get there that way. But if the whole city starts shooting the helo, it's a very different situation than if you can just fly in there and be like, oh, well, people don't care, right? Like I can just go do whatever I want. And it's going to need to be that way. And that's why it's so important to foment all this fear, create all this bullshit about, people being willing to go up to Joe and be like, you're putting me at risk, right? That guy's now an asset in that city. And there are millions of them in basically every major city. It gives you the capability to go in there and do things that you otherwise couldn't. And that's why it's such a big problem. But nobody, most people probably, if they knew that they were being used by like that, would probably be pissed. But you can't get them to stop and think and go like, well, am I the asshole here? Am I the problem?
Yeah. I mean, it's the idea. It's the idea that if you, the media, and the government are all saying the same thing, guess what? You're not the counterculture. But they're all still having this wet dream that died in the 60s.
Yeah.
One point I've been bringing up recently is because I do have some, moderate Democrat friends who I do have on the podcast because they're my friends. I've known them for 10 years and they've been there in my life during hard times. And my friendship's more important to me than politics. But what I've been pointing out recently is that as, episodes like this where, for white supremacist Nazis, which is what we're painted as, right? Yeah. As we slowly get banned,
Being white supremacist Dale.
Yeah. Right. But as you take down Alex Jones, then you take down President Trump, then you take down Project Veritas, and then soon it will be this podcast. Soon they'll take down, I don't know how they haven't taken down Don yet. They'll get rid of Dale. They'll get rid of Ted Eye. You have to understand, to any of my moderate Democrat friends listening, is that they don't stop canceling. They exist on canceling. They exist on destroying. So as we disappear, there becomes a new far right, and it's simply the most far right existing people. Eventually, you, moderate Democrat, it will get to when you're going, yeah, I'm liberal, I'm maybe for Medicaid for all, I'm for some higher taxes on the rich people, but I'm not for
far enough.
But but I'm not for giving hormones to 4-year-olds. I think that's a little weird. I think there are two genders, but aside from that, I vote for. Guess what? Very soon they're going to look at you the same way they look at MAGA hat people.
There's no very soon. This is already happening, right?
They're coming for you.
Twitter is this idiot microcosm where you can see the future of the whole country happening. At least as long as the left maintains this capability to destroy people and things. Because whatever Twitter starts losing their mind about is what you can reasonably assume the rest of the world will go after eventually. And you're already a transphobe if you don't think that a 9-year-old should go, I feel like being a girl, therefore stop puberty. Get the fuck out of here. Like that kid has any understanding what puberty is.
They don't know what it is. when I was 7, if I told my dad I wanted to be made of Legos, he'd look at me and say, that's nice. If I said, Dad, I want to be a girl, he'd look at me and say, that's nice. He doesn't give a shit. I mean, we're giving, you got to be 18. You got to be 18 to join the military. You got to be we got to go through psychiatric evaluations if you want to own a handgun. You want to chop your dick off and put a clit there and take some beta blockers? By God, you're stunning and brave. Happy 3rd birthday, James. That's what it is. But very soon, if you're not for that, you are going to be the far right. And then when you say, how come they're canceling me? It's the most cliche. First, they came for the Jews, but I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Jew. Blah, 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 blah. And then there was nobody left. The people that you growing, because right now when we get canceled, I can call on the moderate Democrat people and I'm gonna be like, dude, they're canceling us. You don't think this is bad? When they come for you, Mr. Moderate Democrat, the only people you're gonna be able to look to say, hey, why are we getting canceled? Are gonna be the most psychopathic, neon blue hair, 17 gendered fucks. They're not gonna stop it. It's not going to stop. The canceling will continue and continue and continue. And that's why you can't start with anything. If Alex Jones want to talk about Sandy Hook being a false flag and interdimensional aliens raping Aztec sacrifices, go for it.
Let him go.
I mean, not, hey, that's a fun trip. I'll listen to that every once in a while. But it will never stop. And that's the way it's slowly marching. It's just
Tom, I think that's a good segue out of this, and I have to bounce. Like I told, I at 12:30, I got another call. And
yeah.
We've been going for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ!
Jesus
You're right.
Christ.
But anyway, guys, yeah, that's an excellent segue. And for those watching, just remember, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Dale is, I am, Tom, Don. These are opinions, but our opinions
Sure.
are also based on facts, and we're not just pulling stuff out of the air. We are doing our homework, and we're listening to both sides, not just the right, left. We're listening. And like Dale says, if you have one brain cell, and I'll end on this, if you have one brain cell, you should be able to see what's going on. If you don't, then you have been indoctrinated somehow, somewhere, by someone not to think with clarity and with some basic common sense. I mean, I'm not the smartest tool in the toolbox, but I got some pretty much common sense. I don't have Dale's education, but even my dumb ass can see what the hell's going on here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to bounce. Tom, thanks again for having me on. Let's do it again for sure.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right, my man.
Thanks,
Well,
brother.
Don and Dale, do you guys want to wrap this shit up?
Yeah, I'll just say, same thing with, Joe. The problem is in the world now is you're not entitled to an opinion. You're judged by an opinion, right? Which is sad. Like, that's why I got banned off of Facebook, because I made the comment that I just thought Americans were dumb, and I got banned for 30 days for hate speech, right? And so, and actually I got banned for a week because I told a story about my dog dying. Actually, about my dog dying, and said it's harmful to others. And then I mentioned, and then I got banned again prior to that. So I've been banned like 4 times in 6 weeks. Last time for 30 days, and the other time was I told a story about me being quarantined in Indonesia, what happened to me, and I got banned for that. It's like, damn, I can't even tell a story about my experiences or my opinions without being scrutinized or being labeled as a racist, a misogynist. And you guys know I'm probably the least racist guy here. I've been married to black women, Hispanic women, Chinese women. My wife is Indonesian Muslim. I've got kids from all of them. I can go on all day long. I'm the last racist guy on the planet. I just call it the way I see it. Maybe you don't see it like I do, but that's my opinion. It's my perspective, and you shouldn't penalize me for that no more than I should penalize you for your perspective. What we should be doing is trying to meet in the middle, going, okay, what's going on here, and why do we see things differently? Let's get some clarity. But we're way beyond that, man. We're way beyond that, and we're way beyond that not because we're way beyond that because we've been manipulated by the powers to be to think differently. Right? We've been divided up over the last year. We saw that, right? This Black Lives Matter movement. By the way, they've been just nominated for
Nobel Peace Prize.
Nobel Peace Prize. It's like, how does that work when they're a Marxist socialist organization and they admit it? And they're destroying people's lives. They're responsible between them and Antifa for killing over 30 people last year. How are they fucking peaceful, right? And it's always comes back down to, it's a psyops game, right? Psychological operations. If you can convince the other guys that what you're saying is true, even Hitler said it. If you repeat a lie enough times, people will actually believe it's true. And that's exactly where we're at, right? So unfortunately, those of us that are actually telling the truth are seen as liars. All the liars that are lying are seen as, those that are speaking the truth. And so we've got a paradox. Yeah, we've got a paradox here, man. It's like, the script has been flipped on us. And so, if anybody, listen, tonight, I got a little revved up. I was dropping a lot of F-bombs, but I've gotten to the point in life where, at my age of almost 58, I don't give a fuck anymore. And, be honest with you, I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've experienced, pretty much all of it. And I'm smart enough, mature enough to see what I see. And I'm going to call it like the way I see it. You may not like it. You might think I'm an asshole. Well, go fuck yourself if that's what you think. And you go, and that's how it is. How it is. Because too many people in this world want to be politically correct and be nice and be sensitive. I'm not that fucking guy. I never have been. And most of us on the right are not that way, especially on the far right. And I'm not saying I'm an extremist. I'm just on the right. And I believe in being fair. I have some liberal ideas, some liberal tendencies, but I also have some very conservative ideals because of the way I grew up, and that's what's
Dale,
kept me
we'll
on.
purge that shit out of you. Give us some time.
Yeah, no, but so I'm just bringing, I want to put that all out there because, I'm sure shit, I know some assholes out there, they're going to get their feelings hurt because, they're uncomfortable in their fucking tight jeans and their fucking man buns and bullshit, and that's just the difference, man, between me and you. I grew up in a different era. I have a different mindset of what patriotism means, what Americanism means, what masculinism means. I have a different perspective. Does it make me wrong? No. It's what got me to where I am today. And it's actually because of me and my peer group and my predecessors that brought America to a place where we were the most richest, powerful country in the world, where everybody wants to come. Don't forget that. Everybody still trying to cross the damn border to get there. If it were that bad, why does everybody want to be an American? So ask yourself that question. And it's because many of us have created this country that we can be proud of. And be honest with you, and I've said this and I'll say it again, I'm no longer proud of my country. I'm ashamed to be an American because of what I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. I shake my head. I'm like, fuck, I've actually considered denouncing my citizenship and just fucking walking away. And I feel betrayed. I feel very betrayed. I feel my family's been betrayed. All the veterans in my family have been betrayed because we have fought so hard for these ideals that we call Americana, patriotism. And suddenly we're standing here going, fuck, the same ideals we fought against, we're now expected to defend. Socialism, communism. What a fucking kick in the balls. And you assholes that fucking voted for that shit, go fuck yourself. You deserve everything you get. So that's all I got to say about that.
So that
you can bleep all
sorta-
that out if you want, man.
No, fuck that.
well, it's already live, so
Yeah, no,
probably
fuck that. I'm keeping it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm keeping it. Fuck that. No, it's beautiful. No, but I mean, it's
So there was to piggyback, well, to sort of sum up so much of this discussion. When I enlisted, there was a little poster on the door of my enlistment office that said Americans, something to the effect of, Americans can sleep soundly in their beds because rough men are willing to do violence on their behalf at night.
Mhm.
All right, sleep soundly in their beds at night because rough men are willing to do violence on their behalf. And as long as the enemy is off American shores, that remains true. And the problem is when they're on American shores, you better figure out how to be that rough man, because it's going to be us. It's not, when Pearl Harbor happened, look, at least they went after a bunch of guys who signed up to do that. When 9/11 happened, that's not what happened, right?
Mhm.
And when your own government is the one doing it, they're not going to be going after the military, at least not after the very beginning, right? That 60-day sandown to find the extremists in the U.S. military, that should be the most terrifying thing you've ever heard in your fucking life, because that right there is the ideological conformity, so that you can use that military to do terrible things to that citizenry. That's
Mhm.
what they're doing. And don't get me wrong, they won't be as good as the guys that they got rid of. They never are. The extremists are the guys who are out there. The extremists are the guys who are out there actually getting it done. They're the guys who, the guy who thinks, yes, I'm willing to die for my country, is kind of the guy you need to get hard shit done. Right.
Yeah.
And if what you do is get rid of that guy, they're not going to be as good, but there will be shit tons of them, and they will have lots of cool toys. And those cool toys will make up for a lot of them sucking at doing their job if they're dealing with people who won't fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. You got to purge the whole thing. You got to find the dissenters.
That's the thing.
That's what they're doing right now. And you know what? If it doesn't scare everyone, then we deserve what's coming.
Indeed. I will say, because I'm sure that there is going to be cut out things in a moment here. A bunch of you have donated money. I will stick around and answer questions in a minute here, even if nobody else does.
No.
So,
all right. Well, hey, let's wrap this bitch up, because I got another one in a little bit. So, Don, thank you, my friend. Dale, thank you for coming on. We'll resume with the American Badass volumes next week. And
All right.
all right, my man. All right, Don, thank you for having us on your live stream.
Always good,
All
guys. I really, some days these are the most cathartic things that I do in the fucking world.
All Don's followers, please come subscribe. I haven't gotten a new subscriber since election day.
Yeah,
I've plateaued. I mean literally, not one.
I know the feeling. At
What?
least you're not on the downstroke.
Horizontal. Horizontal.
At least YouTube is not overtly suppressing you, because I am down about 100 subscribers since election day.
I am at
Wow.
I'm at 0 new ones.
Well, I probably just dropped to like 1,000.
No, fuck that, Dale. You're what gets me people. You're what gets me subscribers. That's why you come on. Dude, it's gone. It's getting absurd. So hey, Don subscribers, please come subscribe to me. And I'm
Go
not
visit Tommy. He's good.
I'm not as pretty as Don. But
well, nobody is.
well, Dale is. Dale, real quick, Dale, you need to enter the Miss Universe.
Yeah, I'm
or
on
just
it,
win
man.
it. Just
Just
say
your
it.
mustache.
No, just go in and
Dude.
say I'm a woman now.
I mean, I got some boobies, man.
We'll be stunning and brave. That's all I'm saying.
Just go in and say I identify as a woman now, and it'll just be
I know.
Comstock in a
That's all you gotta-
leotard.
That's all you got to do, right?
Yeah,
I mean, shit. Cry a little bit. I'm good.
yeah,
right.
you've got it all, man.
Yeah.
You've got the passion. They'll love it. But
That's the rules now.
yeah. Well, yeah, stunning and brave. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Don, thank you, Dale.
All right,
I'll see you
brother.
next week, man.
All right, man. Be good.
Thanks, guys. I'll
All
catch y'all later.
All right, dude. Peace.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.